Uchime couldn't help but feel panic in his eyes. He actually heard Lin Moyu's warning. The two were separated by who knows how many light years. He didn't know how Lin Moyu did it. Uchime knew that his attack failed, not only failed, but also failed miserably. Lin Moyu is terrifying, far beyond imagination. He told the two great elders about this, and the two great elders also looked shocked. No wonder the human race values Lin Moyu so much. This son is so terrifying that it is unimaginable. It's scary that he is no longer as simple as the second Xiao Zhantian. This son is very likely to surpass Xiao Zhantian because the human race will create a new era. Is it possible that the human race will dominate the world again? If that is the case, it is not impossible. The three of them looked at each other with extremely complicated expressions. This time, Lin Moyu completely broke Uchime's intention to kill him, and also broke the rules of the Starry Skyfish people. Lin Moyu's breath gradually calmed down, and his realm also returned to the real level. Uchingru looked on very nervously, but only now did she really feel relieved. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Okay, it's okay." Uchingru hummed, "It's not easy to activate that magic weapon once. I think they won't do it again in a short time on the 19th. Lin Moyu said, "You are right." Uchime didn't dare to take action in a short period of time, and he probably wouldn't dare to take action in the future. Lin Moyu knew how powerful his words were. Although they were just warnings, they were full of threats. Using the explosive luck technique, through the line of cause and effect, Uchime was directly injured from an infinite distance. This method would probably scare even the Holy Lord half to death. In the past, the ancient Buddha used cause and effect to slap himself with Buddha's palm. Advertisement. There are traces of the ancient Buddha's palm. Although it is powerful, it is not weird. There is no trace of the explosive luck technique, so it looks a bit weird. Lin Moyu wants to know how people like Uchime will react now. The expressions on their faces should be very exciting. Lin Moyu took Uchingru on the journey again. A causal attack and a fate attack were like an interlude, which did not affect the interest of the two at all. In the next period of time, Lin Moyu took Uchingru to see all the beautiful scenery in the Divine City Star territory. "Are you sure you don't want me to accompany you back?" Lin Moyu asked. Uchingru shook his head, "I can handle my own affairs." Lin Moyu didn't stop him, "Then you should be careful. If you have any problems, just come to me directly and I will come and solve it." Uchingru smiled sweetly, "Don't worry, I have a special status, nothing will happen to me." As the princess of the Starry Skyfishmen clan, Uchingru has been appointed as the next clan leader. As long as she achieves the other side, she can become the clan leader. Even if she makes some mistakes, nothing will happen to her. What's more, Lin Moyu feels that now Uchime and others are even less likely to punish Uchingchen. With reluctance, Uchingru left. Although he didn't say anything, Lin Moyu knew the reluctance very well. Lin Moyu knows that the two will meet again sooner or later. The line of cause and effect is still there, and this farewell is not final. Lin Moyu also returned to the Divine City and prepared to practice again. Things told him time and time again that in this world, if you want to live comfortably, strength comes first. If he was already a saint, how could Uchime dare to attack him again? On the way back, Lin Moyu sent a message to Saint Hao and asked about Xiao Wu's situation. Every once in a while, Lin Moyu will ask. Wu Xingzuan took Xiao Wu out of the Divine City Star territory and was wandering around the human races for Direction Star territory. The old man and the young man got along very harmoniously, and Xiao Wu seemed to be having a little too much fun. Advertisement. It was the same this time. Saint Hao took Xiao Wu to the Qinglong Star territory. It was not clear when he would return. Lin Moyu is also happy about this. Xiao Wu has transformed from a tool spirit into a real person, so naturally he wants to experience the human world. She had been in the Yunwu sect for who knows how many years. Although Huan Wu Tianzuan was very kind to her, she was always stuck in the same place. Now I finally have a chance to see this world. Huan Wu Tianzuan, I have accomplished what I promised you. Lin Moyu thought in his heart, and suddenly, he felt something changed in his soul. With his mind sinking into his soul, Lin Moyu saw the supreme inheritance pearl of Yunwu sect, shining brightly. In the light, countless texts blinked out. These runes were flying in the light and shadow, and there were many runes that Lin Moyu had never seen before. But relying on his understanding of runes, he can roughly judge the functions of these runes. Space runes. Time rune. And these runes, I don't even recognize them. Lin Moyu thought that he had mastered almost all the runes, but he did not expect that there were so many runes that he had never seen before. These runes kept flying, and then merged with each other to form one mysterious ancient rune after another. Then these ancient symbols were combined again, turning into mountains, seas, starry sky beasts, and galaxies. The last rune giant, which was bigger than the galaxy, appeared in the light and shadow. It pinches stars with its hands and breaks galaxies with its fists. It is extremely powerful. Lin Moyu was shocked. Ancient giant. The giant in the light and shadow looked exactly like the ancient giant he had seen before. The secret realm of the Divine City Star territory was transformed from the ancient talisman fragments of the ancient giants. The severed finger of the ancient giant is still outside the Divine City Star domain. Advertisement. It is obviously the supreme inheritance of the Yunwu sect, so why do ancient giants appear? Could it be said that the ancient giants were also transformed by the Yunwu sect? Lin Moyu instinctively felt that it was impossible. There was no basis for his guess, but what he saw in front of him was how to explain it. The pearl burst out with strong light again, driving away all light and shadow. The strong light illuminated most of the soul world, and then a large amount of information rushed into the soul. Lin Moyu was caught off guard. 307 soul felt intense pain, and was almost overwhelmed by the flow of information. It was hard to endure it, but Lin Moyu was afraid. This is already the second time. It was the same the previous time, and it was the same the second time. This supreme inheritance really does not care about the life and death of the recipient. Lin Moyu wondered if in the eyes of those heavenly lords, if they couldn't even accept the information, they were not worthy of inheritance. Thinking about it, it is very possible that those Tianzins are super powerful and may also have very weird personalities. It's hard to tell. He's an old guy with a weird personality. He likes to see other people being unlucky. Lin Moyu secretly speculated, regardless of whether it was true or false, right or wrong, who made the supreme inheritance so inappropriate. Thinking about it, Lin Moyu also sorted out the information passed down. He was multitasking. While sorting, he had already started checking. After watching for a moment, Lin Moyu couldn't help showing surprise. It's actually like this. The previous inheritance mainly talked about the art of luck. After Lin Moyu studied, he once believed that Yunwu sect was sublimated from luck to luck, and then from luck to the law of cause and effect, and it progressed layer by layer. At that time, he admired the ancestors of the Yunwu sect for actually using this method to get in touch with the ethereal law of cause and effect. But now, he truly realized that he still underestimated the Yunwu sect. The inheritance of Yunwu sect has gone beyond the art of luck, and has truly come into contact with the law of cause and effect. And relying on the law of cause and effect, the Yunwu sect made many arrangements that year. The amount of inherited information was huge, and Lin Moyu was a little bit dumbfounded. Huan Wu Tianzuan, you are ruthless, but you can still avoid such a thing. For the Yunwu sect, inheritance is an extremely important and sacred matter. Huan Wu Tianzuan was the leader of Yunwu sect at that time, and he alone was in charge of the inheritance. Especially after the war, the place of inheritance was lost and needed to be passed on by future generations. I never imagined that Huan Wu Tianzuan would have selfish motives in this matter. Previously, Lin Moyu obtained the art of luck in the supreme inheritance, which was only part of the inheritance. Most of this part of the inheritance is theory, and there are almost no magic techniques. Lin Moyu had no doubts at that time. The art of luck was so mysterious that he didn't even understand it. If you don't have enough realm, you can't see the flaws, and there's nothing you can do about it. I never expected that there is another part of the supreme inheritance, which is no longer just a theory, but has real techniques. It can be said that this is the core of true inheritance. The only way to activate this part of the inheritance is to create a physical body for Xiao Wu. Only when Xiao Wu successfully shapes the physical body and becomes a living being can this part of the inheritance be unsealed. As for how to judge in the inheritance, it is not difficult for Lin Moyu to figure it out. With Huan Wu Tianzuan's ability, he only needs to make some judgments at the level of trapped fruit to achieve it. Now that Xiao Wu has a physical body and has been successful for a period of time, the restrictions of Huan Wu Tianzuan have been lifted, and Lin Moyu has naturally obtained this part of the inheritance. Fortunately, he agreed to Huan Wu Tianzuan's words at that time, and he also tried his best to complete the matter afterwards. If you meet some people who just agreed but don't do it, then don't expect to get this part of the inheritance. It can be seen from this that Huan Wu Tianzuan is really good to Xiaolu, and he has the illusion of treating her as his own child. Lin Moyu even wondered whether Huan Wu Tianzuan had never had a wife or children in this life, so he regarded Xiao Wu as his daughter. Advertisement. The inheritance message finally stopped, and Lin Moyu slowly breathed a sigh of relief. It's finally over. There were bursts of swelling pain in the soul, which was already close to the limit. Lin Moyu relaxes the soul and restores the soul. The requirements of inheritance for souls are a bit high, and even his saint-level soul can barely bear it. Perhaps, in the eyes of the Huan Wu Tianzuan back then, the Holy Lord might just be a passing standard. Hey, why are you still glowing? Inadvertently, I saw that the pearl of the supreme inheritance was still shining, and the ancient talisman appeared on it again. Lin Moyu had a thought in his mind, it's not over yet. Wow! A strong light once again illuminated the soul world, and another large amount of information rushed over, regardless of whether Lin Moyu could bear it or not. What the hell, your sister? Lin Moyu used words from his previous life and complained angrily to express his feelings. The soul is almost about to explode. The information this time is no less than before. Lin Moyu tried hard to control his soul and prevent it from exploding. Although the soul can be reborn, and it takes less than half a second, he doesn't know if any important information will be missed in this half second. So Lin Moyu worked hard to maintain his soul and endure the drama. The world tree droops its branches and sheds countless golden light spots, helping the soul maintain stability. The 9-color dragon soul crystal also sprays dragon breath to protect the soul. There was so much information transmitted that the soul still reached its limit and expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye. Oops, I can't hold on any longer. Advertisement. Lin Moyu realized that his soul had really reached its limit and would explode soon. There was so much information passed down that he simply couldn't bear it. Something must be done. Lin Moyu raised the natural disaster scepter, which was the only useful thing he could think of. If he couldn't even use the natural disaster scepter, then he would just wait for his soul to explode. You won't die if you die, you will just lose some inheritance. Lin Moyu communicated with it using his soul, but the natural disaster scepter showed no response. The soul endured the severe pain and slapped the natural disaster scepter with its swollen little hand. If you don't move a moment, my inheritance will be gone. Please move, I know you must have other uses besides smashing things. Under Lin Moyu's pat, the natural disaster scepter finally had some reaction. It seemed to vibrate unwillingly, and the soul gem on it shot out an earthy yellow light and fell on the soul. The originally swollen soul returned to its original state in the blink of an eye. The swelling and pain subsided, and Lin Moyu felt refreshed. Lin Moyu didn't understand how the soul gem was done, but it was done. He felt as if the endurance of his soul had doubled. The soul that could only hold a river could now hold an ocean. Lin Moyu knows very well that this is only temporary and the essence of his soul will not change. When the effect of the soul gem disappears, a tsunami will definitely erupt in this ocean and wash away the soul. He seized the time and quickly accepted and sorted out the information. The soul was running at the fastest speed, and Lin Moyu did not dare to delay for a second, let alone be distracted. If it weren't for the fear of missing the inheritance, Lin Moyu would even want to use the law of time to slow down the flow of time for himself. His soul was about to smoke, and his face showed an expression of excitement. Advertisement. Lin Moyu was excited, really excited. Even with his state of mind, he couldn't help but be excited. The inheritance that came this time was not the inheritance of Yunwu sect, but the inheritance of another Tianzuan. This Tianzuan was the #1 rune person of that era, the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. No one would have thought that among the supreme inheritance of the Yunwu sect, there was actually the inheritance of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. Moreover, this inheritance will be activated after the Yunwu sect inheritance is completely completed. If you don't help Xiao Wu shape his body, the loss will be really big. Xiao Wu has become the key to 2 inheritances, which is of great significance. Lin Moyu is very happy that he made the right choice. The inheritance of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan is pouring in continuously. The amount of information inherited by one Tianzuan is simply terrifying. Lin Moyu later had no intention of thinking about it and only kept combing it out. The effect of the soul gem subsided unconsciously, and Lin Moyu felt the pain again, but it was much better than before. At this moment, Lin Moyu couldn't think anymore. He instinctively sorted out the information and raced against time. I don't know how long it took, but the inheritance finally ended. Lin Moyu's soul was still intact, good luck, and he smiled, fortunately, I survived. Yes, the little guy is very resilient and is qualified to accept Ben's inheritance. A voice suddenly sounded, and Lin Moyu saw a figure appearing on the pearl. The figure enlarged in sight and turned into a majestic middle-aged man, whose temperament was somewhat similar to that of Huanwu Tianzuan. Lin Moyu immediately realized the identity of this big boss and immediately saluted respectfully, Junior has seen Xingzai Tianzuan. Fu Xingzuan showed a smile, majestic yet kind, look at you, you are not more than 100 years old, you can reach the realm of a god, and you also have a soul of a saint, and you can build the prototype of the world. Even in my era, you are still a top genius. If nothing else, that old boy Huanwu was far inferior to you when he was young. Fu Xingzuan praised Lin Moyu, but also belittled Huan Yuan Tianzun's. Lin Moyu couldn't help but curse in his heart. It seems that the relationship between Fu Xingzuan and Huanwu Xingzuan is not good. But the relationship is not good, why do they have to be together in the inheritance? Advertisement. Holy Talisman Tianzuan seemed to have seen through Lin Moyu's thoughts, and said slowly, little guy, you must be guessing why my inheritance is placed in Yunwu sect. Lin Moyu honestly admitted that lying in front of Tianzuan was of no use. Holy Talisman Tianzuan slowly sat down and placed the Yunwu sect's supreme inheritance pearl under him. It's so cool. Sitting on the Yunwu sect's supreme inheritance pearl is like sitting on the old boy Huanwu. The corner of Lin Moyu's mouth twitched. It seemed that these two deities really had a story. Holy Fu Tianzuan said, it's actually very simple, because I can't stand that old boy Huanwu. What is the reason for this? Lin Moyu couldn't stand how Huanwu Tianzuan wanted to put the inheritance together. Lin Moyu said he didn't understand. Holy Talisman Tianzuan explained, because I can't stand it, I want to make it more difficult for the inheritor of Illusion Mist. If you can't even bear my inheritance, then just die. Don't even want the inheritance of old boy Huanwu. Lin Moyu was horrified to hear that Xingzai Tianzuan would have such thoughts. After accepting the inheritance from Huanwu Tianzuan, and then receiving the inheritance from Holy Talisman Tianzuan, ordinary saints simply cannot bear it. This is not destroying, this is simply killing. But Lin Moyu couldn't say that, and the corners of his mouth twitched. Isn't it too dangerous if you keep doing this? Holy Talisman Tianzuan snorted, what's so dangerous? 243. Didn't you just succeed? Lin Moyu is a little speechless. Can others compare with him? Does anyone else have the world tree? Do they have the 9-colored dragon soul crystal? Do they have the natural disaster scepter? Lin Moyu dared to say that even if it were replaced by Saint Hao, this inheritance would still be a dead end. But he didn't dare to say a word. Facing Tianzuan, even if it was just a remnant soul, it wouldn't take much effort to kill him. Holy Talisman Tianzuan continued, that old boy Huanwu is unreasonable. He escaped by himself and only left the inheritance behind. He doesn't care about the life or death of the world. Advertisement. Even Xiaowu didn't take him away. He said he had seen cause and effect and fate. Xiaowu had his own noble person. If you are timid, you are still timid, and you still find excuses. I can't bear to see a hypocrite like him. So after the old boy Huanwu escaped, he entered the Yunwu sect and left his inheritance in it. I want to see if the noble person mentioned by the coward in the mist will appear. If you can't even inherit my inheritance, then you are not a noble person. Lin Moyu was a little speechless. If you can't catch it, you will die. Holy Talisman Tianzuan snorted, that can only mean that that guy is not a noble person, and it means that the coward of Huanwu said it wrong. What a pity, you kid actually caught it. What a pity, Lin Moyu had 100,000 starry sky beasts running through his heart. Is Holy Talisman Tianzuan really Tianzuan? Why is this character like a child? It's a bit scary. Lin Moyu even doubted whether Holy Talisman Tianzuan would kill him in order to prove that Huanwu Tianzuan was wrong. Saint Fu Tianzuan glanced sideways at Lin Moyu. Don't worry, I won't kill you. It's the coward Huanwu that I can't stand, not you. Lin Moyu thought about the words of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord and asked boldly, Senior, what exactly did Magical Fog Heavenly Lord do to make you so angry? He could tell that Holy Talisman Tianzuan disliked Huanwu Tianzuan very much, but he maintained his identity, so he didn't say anything. Lin Moyu's words, I believe you gave him an outlet. Holy Talisman Tianzuan immediately followed Lin Moyu's words, okay, since you want to listen, I will tell you. It seemed that the resentment that had been held in for countless years poured out like a waterfall. Lin Moyu listened carefully without saying a word. He never imagined that Xingfu Tianzuan was so resentful. There is no disagreement between the two heavenly lords, and they are almost on the verge of turning against each other. If it weren't for the fact that everyone was human, they might have fought. It turns out that the conflict between the two people was due to a woman when they were young. Advertisement. The two fell in love with a woman at the same time, but the woman did not like either of them. The reason is that both of them are too good to her and she can't choose. This woman remained unmarried until her life was exhausted. Huanwu Tianzuan retained the woman's soul and refined it into a weapon spirit, which is Xiaowu. Huanwu Tianzuan treats Xiaowu very well, and he himself has never married. At that time, Tianzuan Xingzuan was a step too late. Later, every time he saw Xiaowu and Huanwu Tianzuan, Jab, felt uncomfortable. Especially after the ancient war, Huanwu Tianzuan left this world and actually left Xiaowu here. He said that Xiaowu would meet a noble person and warned Xingde Tianzuan not to interfere. Although Saint Fu Tianzuan couldn't stand Huanwu Tianzuan, he also knew that Huanwu Tianzuan would not make fun of Xiaowu. Therefore, he also left a legacy and wanted to see who the so-called noble person was. There is such a thing, which really makes Lin Moyu dumbfounded. Even the dignified Heavenly Lord can be trapped by love. But thinking about it carefully, this seems normal. Tianzuan represents status and strength, but it does not mean that they have no emotions or desires. If one day he becomes a Heavenly Lord, maybe the same will happen. Holy Talisman Tianzuan said, I will see everything you do next. You did a good job, better than a coward. I am very satisfied. Lin Moyu asked, I wonder what Huan Tianzuan planned to do back then. Holy Talisman Tianzuan said casually, what other good ideas can he have? It is nothing more than to go to the boundary sea to look for. At this point, he suddenly paused and did not continue, you don't need to know this now. It won't be too late to know when you become a Heavenly Lord. Advertisement. Lin Moyu didn't ask further. Xingfu Tianzuan didn't want to say anything, so it was useless for him to ask she. However, he also wrote down the word Jia. According to his guess, Jihai should be a place that only Tianzuan can know and pass by. Lin Moyu changed the topic. Huanwu Tianzuan, are you still alive? Holy Talisman Tianzuan snorted coldly. Maybe he's still alive or he's dead. The remnant soul of Holy Talisman Tianzuan is completely disconnected from the main body, just like the remnant soul of Huanwu Tianzuan. No matter whether the body is alive or dead, it has no effect on the remaining soul. Although Holy Talisman Tianzuan didn't say anything, he had already given Lin Moyu a possibility. It is really possible that Huanwu Tianzuan is still alive. But Tianzuan's lifespan is only 500,000 years. Huanwu Tianzuan said that immortality is not easy. 2 million years have passed since ancient times. How did Tianzuan survive? Holy Talisman Tianzuan said, I know you still have many questions, but that's all I can say. I don't have much time for this residual soul, so I won't waste it here. Remember, the stronger you are, the more you are qualified to know. Without strength, the more you know, the faster you will die. Since the coward says you are Xiaowu's noble, then you should be noble and don't die. The days in this world are running out. Let's see if you can help the world change its destiny. Lin Moyu asked, where are you going, senior? Holy Talisman Tianzuan chuckled and said, do what you need to do. We, the people, are guilty of this world. Let's do our best to make up for it. At this moment, Holy Talisman Tianzuan looks a bit like a deity. He put away his smile and his expression became majestic and solemn, exuding the power of God. Holy Talisman Tianzuan left, leaving behind a similar sentence. Although he didn't understand, Lin Moyu also understood that Saint Fu Tianzuan kept scolding Huanwu Tianzuan for being a coward, but in fact he also left this world in the end. They gave up on the big world. But why is this happening? Lin Moyu didn't quite believe that those heavenly lords would really give up on the world. It was different from what he had seen and heard before. The former supremes all died fighting for the great world. The ancient strong men were born in the big world, and the big world was their home, so how could they give up so easily? Is there any reason why I have to do this? In other words, there is something inside that I don't know about. Lin Moyu cannot make any conclusions. Now he is not qualified enough to know many things. But even if he knew it, so what? He had no ability to change it, which would only increase his troubles. What he has to do now is to practice hard, reach the peak of the Holy Lord, and rebuild the divine path. If you want to know the truth, you must first obtain qualifications. Letting the battleship float in the starry sky, Lin Moyu sat motionless in it. He was sorting out the information in the inheritance. The information in the inheritance was too much and too complicated, and there was really a lot of content that needed to be sorted out, which required a lot of time. Slowly, it became clear that the supreme inheritance of the Yunwu sect this time had several more practical methods for luck, but they also required the power of rules to be used. The Yunwu sect sublimated from luck to luck, and finally reached the law of cause and effect, which corresponds to the realm. Before reaching the other side, you can learn luck-based spells to interfere with personal luck, and even launch attacks through luck. Advertisement. After reaching the other side, you can interfere with destiny, even affect the entire sect and race, and even destroy the sect and the entire clan. In the end, truly reaching cause and effect is no longer within the reach of Lin Moyu. It is still too far away. After sorting out the inheritance of Yunwu sect, Lin Moyu breathed a sigh of relief. It's finally complete. If you follow this path, you can at least reach the Supreme. Whether the divine road can be recast has become the biggest obstacle. It's a pity that the Yunwu sect's inheritance does not have a way to rebuild the divine path. There are gains, but also a little disappointment. Lin Moyu put it aside and continued the inheritance of Shenglu Tianzuan. Compared with the inheritance of Yunwu sect, the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan is much more practical. The inheritance includes all the knowledge about runes learned by Holy Talisman Tianzuan Bisheng. There is a lot of knowledge and many runes, which are treasures today. Lin Moyu deeply understood how brilliant the formations from ancient times were. The exploration of runes by the strong men at that time had far exceeded the knowledge of current practitioners. At that time, the other shore realm was the beginning of the rune path. Lin Moyu murmured to himself as he sorted it out, runes are also divided into false and true. If you only master real runes, the limit is supreme. If you want to go further, you must master virtual runes. In other words, as long as you want to become a heavenly being, you must understand the truth and reality. I thought it right. The way of runes is not divided into fusion runes or rune arrays. If you want to get to the end, you must fully master the runes. Those talisman masters now are all going in the wrong direction. In the inheritance of knowledge, gaps appeared in the face of disasters one after another. Today's practitioners have deviations in their understanding of runes, and Lin Moyu feels it is necessary to correct their understanding. The method is also very simple. He only needs to pass on the inheritance of Holy Fu Tianzuan to Fu Xingzuan, and Fu Xingzuan will naturally understand what to do. As he continued to sort out the inheritance, he got more and more information. Advertisement. His eyes shone brightly, and he said to himself, it turns out that the ancient giant is the Four-Tongue War King. The ancient talisman warrior is the ancient talisman warrior created by Holy Talisman Heavenly Master who gathered his lifelong learning. It is also his masterpiece in the rune path. The ancient runes gather together virtual and real runes, and the virtual and real runes merge together, resulting in wonderful changes. No wonder, even if the ancient talisman is broken, the secret realm can still evolve into a world of its own. This is the reason. Today's number one rune master, Fu Xingzuan, cannot evolve the world with ancient runes. Not to mention evolving the world just by relying on broken ancient talismans. Fu Xingzuan has been researching, but has never gotten the result. Lin Moyu didn't know why at the time, but now he finally understands that all the reasons lie in the virtual and real runes. Only by clearly understanding the virtual and the real and integrating the virtual and real runes can we truly turn decay into magic. However, one thing is true. In ancient times, ancient talismans were also divided into 3 levels and 9 levels. Runes have levels, and ordinary runes are divided into basic and advanced. Ancient talismans have 3 levels and 9 levels. Levels 1 to 3 are considered inferior. Levels 4 to 6 are medium, and levels 7 to 9 are high. 0 Please ask for flowers. Immediately afterwards, Lin Moyu's eyes showed shock, and his tone became a little unnatural. The ancient talisman warrior turned out to be just an ancient talisman. He checked repeatedly and finally confirmed that he was right. In the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, the ancient talisman warriors he spent his whole life learning and creating were only 7th-level ancient talismans. A second ago, Lin Moyu thought that the ancient talisman warrior should belong to the 9th level of ancient talisman and was the ultimate expression of the talisman. But the next second he was severely slapped in the face. The ancient talisman warrior was only a 7th-level ancient talisman. With disbelief, Lin Moyu continued to check the inheritance. Advertisement. I finally know why the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord classified the ancient talisman warriors into the 7th level. In his concept, the 8th level ancient talisman can evolve into a galaxy of laws and independently become a law or even a rule. Only such runes can be called 8th level ancient talismans. As for the 9th level ancient talisman, it is the true ultimate rune. The big world runes are only worthy of being called 9th level ancient runes in the eyes of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. Evolve the world independently, evolve countless laws, and evolve real creatures. When a talisman comes out, the world comes alive. This is the essential gap in vision and pattern. Lin Moyu seemed to see a whole new world, and he found that his vision was too small. The goal of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan is to surpass the Tianzuan, master the runes of the great world, and become the minister of the world. Unfortunately, in the end, he couldn't do it. Finally, I have read all the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, and I have gained a lot. Unlike the inheritance of the Yunwu sect, which is so vague and difficult to understand, the inheritance of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan is all real. Only when it comes to the virtual and real runes will it become mysterious and difficult to understand. At least in my own eyes, these runes are not difficult. Lin Moyu took out a jade tablet and wanted to copy the inheritance of Xinglin Tianzuan. However, the inheritance was only copied less than 1/10, and the jade plaque shattered on the spot with a soft sound. Lin Moyu realized that the inheritance of the Holy Lord was not something that ordinary jade tablets could bear. After trying a few more times, I found that ordinary jade tablets can only withstand a small part of the content at most. These contents do not involve ancient runes, only basic runes and advanced runes. Even some of the concepts of Holy Talisman Tianzuan cannot be copied. It seems that in the inheritance, there is still the supreme will of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. The battleship, which had been floating in the starry sky for a long time, entered deep space again and flew towards the Divine City for a long time. In the Divine City, in front of the Talisman Masters Association Pagoda, a group of high-level Talisman Masters gathered there. They sat cross-legged with pious eyes. In front of them were masses of soul fire that continued to burn. That is the soul fire left behind by Lin Moyu after he preached. It has been sealed by special means to ensure that it will not last for thousands of years. Hundreds of soul fires look exactly the same, with almost no difference. But all the high-level talisman masters present knew that these soul fires were different internally. Each soul fire has slight differences, and they constantly sense the differences to hone their souls and improve their soul sensitivity. This is also how Lin Moyu stays. Many high-level talisman masters have improved their soul acuity to some extent after a long period of training. Great progress has been made in integrating runes. The talisman masters also realize how important the soul acuity of 227 is to the talisman masters. Now soul acuity has become a measure of talisman masters. Not only high-level talisman masters train themselves here, but even Fu Xingzuan will come here to train themselves. His talent is considered outstanding among all talisman masters, but compared to Lin Moyu, it is still far behind. Fu Xingzuan sat in the Fu Master Pagoda, his closed eyes slowly opened, and his consciousness returned. He received a message from Lin Moyu and said to himself, Xiaofa seems to be heavy. He told Lin Moyu his location, then got up and flew out of the pagoda, standing in mid-air. After a while, a person came from afar. 1 second he was far away, and the next second he was in front of him, as if he was teleporting. Advertisement. Fu Xingzuan smiled and said, Congratulations, little friend Lin. He could naturally see that Lin Moyu had taken another step forward in mastering the laws of space. Just now, Lin Moyu just took one step and had already crossed a long distance. The whole process seemed very natural and without any force. Lin Moyu said with a smile, Juniors also want to congratulate Xingzuan Fu. Fu Xingzuan is a little weird. He has nothing to congratulate. At this time, many talisman masters in the square saw Lin Moyu, and they all clasped their fists and called Master Lin. For a time, Master Lin's voice could not be heard without stopping. The voices of these high-level talisman masters were filled with respect. They all listened to Lin Moyu's sermons and benefited a lot. According to the rules, they should call Lin Moyu Master Lin. Lin Moyu smiled at everyone and said to Fu Xingzuan, Holy Lord, please arrange a quiet room. Fu Xingzuan nodded, follow it. He took Lin Moyu into the Fu Master Tower and reached the 10th floor. Only he and the 2 elders could enter the 10th floor, which was very quiet. At this time, the 2 elders are not here, only Fu Xingzuan and Lin Moyu are here. Fu Xingzuan said, Young Master Lin, if you have any instructions, just ask. Lin Moyu said, There are no instructions. There is some rune information here. Please take a look at it, Lord Fu. A jade plaque flew in front of Fu Xingzuan, and Fu Xingzuan took it with doubts and examined it. Soon, his pupils began to dilate and his eyebrows stood up. What showed in his eyes was not only shock, but also greed. It's that kind of greed for runes. Advertisement. After reading it once, he put down the jade plaque and asked with excitement, Where did this come from? Lin Moyu smiled and said, "Let me put it out there first. I would like to ask Xingzu and Fu if there are any high-end jade tokens. The higher the level, the better." Without thinking, Fu Xingzuan immediately took out a purple jade tablet. The purple jade plaque exudes the aura of the other side. It has been carved and polished and looks very delicate. After Lin Moyu took it, he still said nothing, but began to copy the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan. He copied it very carefully. First, he copied the ancient talisman information of the first to third levels. There was no problem with the purple jade card. He tried to copy the information of the fourth level ancient talisman again, but at the beginning, the purple jade card clicked and shattered on the spot. The jade tokens in the other shore realm cannot withstand the information of fourth level ancient talismans. When the purple jade tablet shattered, Xingzu and Fu's eyes suddenly shrank and he immediately took out a new purple jade tablet. He knew that what Lin Moyu recorded in it was probably very important. The purple jade card was very precious, and Xingzu and Fu felt a little pain when he took it out, but these pains were nothing compared to Lin Moyu's information. This time, Lin Moyu only recorded the ancient talisman information of the first to third levels, and then tried to copy the insights of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. Click! The purple jade card was broken again, and it was even more broken than before. Without saying anything, Fu Xingzuan took out another purple jade tablet and handed it to Lin Moyu. This time, Lin Moyu already knew how to measure. This time, he only copied the ancient talisman information of the first to third levels, and did not touch anything else. Ancient talisman materials of level 4 and above may require supreme level materials to withstand them. As for the enlightenment of the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, the materials of the Supreme Realm may not be enough. 0. Lin Moyu also realized that the pearl containing the supreme inheritance of Yunwu sect was not an extraordinary thing. Something that can carry the inheritance of Tianzuan and has virtual and real properties is the real treasure. After copying the ancient talisman information, Lin Moyu returned the jade tablet to the Holy Master. Advertisement. Fu Xingzuan couldn't wait to see that his greatest interest in life was runes. His tireless pursuit of runes was the driving force behind his ability to become a saint. Among the jade tablets, each ancient talisman had a great attraction for the Holy Lord. Even if these ancient talismans are only of the first to third levels, their level of mystery is already astonishing. In the current world, only Fu Xingzuan is the only one who can study it, and even the two elders are not qualified. Fu Xingzuan tried his best to withdraw his attention from the jade tablet and looked at Lin Moyu with wonder. "How did you get this information?" Lin Moyu said, "By chance, I obtained the inheritance of the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord." Holy Fu Tianzuan. Fu Xingzuan was so shocked that he was so calm that he even exclaimed. Lin Moyu asked, "Why do you know the Holy Master Tianzuan?" Saint Fu nodded. "The book rules I once showed you was recorded by Saint Fu Tianzuan, but it was recorded when he was studying runes when he was young, and he didn't use it anymore. So that's it." Lin Moyu finally understood that he had seen something belonging to the Holy Talisman Tianzuan early in the morning. Lin Moyu said, "The inheritance of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan is huge, but I cannot copy it. At present, I can only copy the tongue talismans of the first to third levels." Fu Xingzuan understands the reason. "I understand. It is good to have ancient talismans of the first to third levels, which is enough for me to study for 1,000 years. Lin Moyu continued, "Although it cannot be copied, there are some things I can dictate to you, which may be helpful. The jade card can't bear it, but it's okay to dictate it yourself." Fu Xingzuan immediately sat upright and saluted Lin Moyu in a very pious manner. "Please give Master Lin a lecture. His love and piety for runes are unmatched by others." Lin Moyu knew this very well, so he accepted it calmly and began to talk about the runes of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. A battleship is sailing rapidly in deep space, heading towards the divine city. In the battleship, Saint Yuan had a strange look on his face. Xiao Wu was beside her, lying on a magic weapon that looked like white clouds, soundly sleeping. When Lin Moyu preaches, he talks about the way of Xingfu Tianzuan, not Lin Moyu's own way. Lin Moyu indeed has a very strong talent in the rune path, far beyond anyone in the world. But talent is one thing, state is another. In terms of realm, he is still far away from Saint Fu. It is already extremely difficult for him to tell the teachings of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. During the sermon, Fu Xingzuan gained a lot, and Lin Moyu himself also gained a lot. In the process of preaching, his understanding of runes became deeper and deeper, and he benefited a lot from it. The way of runes is too broad and profound, and there are many of them that Lin Moyu knows but doesn't know why. Unfortunately, the realm is not enough, and there is nothing we can do about it. The private sermons lasted for 10 days and finally ended. Fu Xingzuan saluted Lin Moyu respectfully. "Thank you, Master Lin, for preaching to me." Lin Moyu immediately shook his head and said, "This is the way of Saint Fu Tianzuan, I am just telling it for you." Holy Talisman Lord Fu shook his head. Holy Talisman Lord Talisman has passed away. Master Lin is willing to share his teachings. It is a great favor to all the talisman masters in this world. When I understand this Tao thoroughly, I will announce it to the public, so that all talisman masters will listen to the Tao of the ancient sages. Lin Moyu immediately saluted, "Then I'll trouble the Holy Lord." 20. This is exactly what he wants. He hopes to use the hands of the Holy Talisman Lord to spread the inheritance of the Holy Talisman Lord, so that all talisman masters in the world know what the complete way of runes is. At this time, the voice of Renhuang Network sounded in their ears. "Xingzuan Wu is back. Please Lin Moyu contact him after the practice." Lin Moyu asked, "When did the medical saint come back?" Renhuang Network immediately replied that Wu Xingzuan came back 5 days ago. Advertisement. Lin Moyu was a little surprised that Wu Xingzuan was playing outside with Xiao Xue. Why did he suddenly come back? While the two were preaching, Xingzuan Fu specifically told the Human Emperor Network not to disturb them unless it was important. The Human Emperor Network did not speak out until after the sermon was over. Xingzuan Fu smiled and said, "Xingzuan Wu may have something to do, so Xiao Yulin should go first and leave the inheritance to me." Lin Moyu saluted to Fu Xingzuan and then left the Lotus Master Tower. Renhuang Network drew a beacon in the sky. Lin Moyu stepped out and disappeared. Wu Xingzuan's warship floats quietly in the air. Warships are generally not allowed to sail in the sacred city. Only a few saints have privileges. The battleship door was open, and the faint fragrance of tea wafted out. Lin Moyu appeared outside the battleship, flew in without any courtesy at all, and sat down directly opposite Saint Hao. "Why are you back?" Lin Moyu said as he naturally picked up the teacup and poured it for himself. At the same time, he glanced at Xiao Wu, who was still sleeping beside him. Xiao Wu looked like she was asleep, but Lin Moyu didn't feel like she was asleep, and her state seemed a little strange. Lin Moyu took another look and found that Xiao Wu was indeed not asleep, but had entered a very strange state. Xiao Wu's aura seemed to be increasing at a steady rate. Remember that Xiao Wu had just finished seizing the body and transformed into a human, and her breath was unstable. Later, it stabilized and the realm remained at the 7th level of True God. After these days, she has reached the 9th level of True God and seems to be still improving. Saint Hao whispered, "Do you think we have arrived?" "Who did he meet?" Lin Moyu's mind turned around and he guessed it immediately. He smiled and said, "Holy Talisman Tianzuan." Saint Hao's eyes widened. "How do you know?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "I have received the inheritance of Xingtishan." Advertisement. Holy Master Hao spurted out a mouthful of Tao tea, and the Tao tea shot out like a sharp arrow. The purple gold body was instantly activated, and the Tao tea hit it, making a tinkling sound. Lin Moyu smiled bitterly. "Are you trying to kill someone?" If they were ordinary gods, Wu Xingzuan's sip of tea would be enough to cause serious injuries to them. Regardless of his own gaffe, Holy Lord Hao immediately asked, "How did you get the inheritance of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord?" Lin Moyu drank tea slowly. "The inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan is in the supreme inheritance of Yunwu sect, but it has just been activated." He did not explain the process in detail. Anyway, It has been passed down and some things do not need to be explained too much. Wu Xingzuan said, okay, then what is the inheritance in Xingfu Tianzuan? It's all related to Rune. I've told Xingzuan Fu everything I can tell. There are some things I can't tell. Lin Moyu said it wasn't that he didn't want to tell, but that he really couldn't tell. Saint Hao expressed his understanding. The remnant soul of Saint Fu Tianzuan found us before. He warned me to take good care of Xiao Wu. If something happens to Xiao Wu, he will not let me go. Lin Moyu said, Holy Fu Tianzuan regards Xiao as a relative, not only him, but also Huan Wu Tianzuan. If something happens to Xiao Wu, they will not let us go. Wu Xingzuan looked strange. Aren't they dead? Lin Moyu chuckled. Who knows? Anyway, that's what I said. Maybe they have a backup plan, just like this inheritance. Who would have thought? Saint Hao thought of Tianzuan's methods. Even if there was only a trace of the remaining soul, he could not resist it. Lin Moyu asked, what's going on with Xiao Wu now? Saint Hao told the story. Saint Talisman Tianzuan suddenly found them before. He not only warned Saint Wu, but also drew an ancient talisman and planted it into Xiao Xiue's body. Under this ancient talisman, Xiao Xiue's realm can be quickly improved, and she can understand the rules without practicing. After the talisman, Xiao Wu fell into a deep sleep, and she didn't know how long she would sleep. Wu Xingzuan also interrupted his play and returned with Xiao Yuan. It can be seen that Wu Xingzuan and Xiao Wu have a very good relationship, and Xingzun Hao seems to regard Xiao Wu as his daughter. Xiao Wu is also very kind to Hao Xingzuan. After playing together, they seem to have become a father and daughter. Advertisement. With Saint Hao taking care of Xiao Wu, Lin Moyu felt relieved. Lin Moyu remembered what Xingfu Tianzuan said, and it seemed that he wanted to do something for this 660 world to make up for his guilt. These words are exactly the same as what Tianzuan Huanwu said. Tianzuan Huanwu burned his own soul, weakened the luck of all races, and fed back the runes to the big world, buying the big world a little more time. Then what will the holy talisman Heavenly Venerate do? Suddenly, the entire divine city burst into bright light and began to shake violently. The wind and clouds in the sky are changing, and the glow is emerging. Countless formations in the divine city were activated, and the entire statue seemed to be alive. The two people rushed out of the battleship and looked at what was happening in front of them, confused. Let's go find Mr. Xing. Saint Hao closed the battleship door, rushed into the formation with Lin Moyu, and went to where Xing Lao was. In the Talisman Master's Square, the high-level Talisman Masters didn't know what happened. All of them were shocked and nervous. What happened? Why did the City of God move? Is there another enemy invasion? Impossible. The human race has been very peaceful recently. There can be no enemies. Fu Xingzuan flew from the pagoda and shouted, Quiet, nothing happened, don't worry. He consciously communicated with the Human Emperor Network. Human Emperor, what happened? The runes of the big world have changed, and I am stabilizing the formation. Fu Xingzuan hummed, and the next second his voice spread throughout the city. Everyone, stay calm, there is no need to panic. After finishing speaking, he also rushed to Xing Lao's location. The divine city shook, and the sea of law stars also shook. Xing Lao snorted softly, and rushed out with majestic power. Countless formations appeared around him, and the sea of laws quickly became quiet. Xing Lao's eyes fell into the void, toward an infinitely distant place. He is looking at the ruins of the big world. To be precise, he is sensing. He cannot directly open the path to the ruins of the big world like Tianzuan, and can only sense part of them. Then, his expression changed and became extremely strange. There are people at the core of the world. How is this possible? How can there be a heavenly lord in this world? There is no supreme being in the world, so how can there be a heavenly being? Xing Lao couldn't believe it, but his senses told him that someone was really there. I don't know if it's good or bad, alas. Xing Lao sighed heavily. If someone really could get there, he would be powerless to stop it. In front of Tianzuan, his power is insignificant. Xing Lao. Wu Xingzuan arrived with Lin Moyu. Less than 3 seconds apart, Xingzuan Fu also arrived. Xing Lao said, I know your purpose of coming. I sensed that someone went to the core of the world. They must have done something that caused the ruins of the big world to move. I just don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Wu Xingzuan suddenly thought of something and looked at Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu said, it should be the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. Mr. Xing was slightly surprised. Tell me what exactly happened. Lin Moyu gave an overview of the matter about Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. When Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord left, he said that he would go to the Great World Rune Office. Advertisement. Xing Lao sighed. I didn't expect that there is still the remnant soul of Tianzuan still surviving to this day. Then it should be fine. Tianzuan knows the rules and won't mess around. Xing Lao continued to sense the Great World Rune, and after a moment he said, Holy Talisman Tianzuan should have helped repair part of the Great World Rune, but it did not have much effect. The collapse of the Great World Rune cannot be stopped. Nirvana is something that happens sooner or later. I suggest you make preparations early. Wu Xingzuan asked, you said before that the resources of the big world are facing depletion, and we need to prepare early, but we have always felt that the human race still needs time. Thousands of years of preparation, coupled with this cooperation with the Starry Skyfish people, I think I am prepared enough. We plan to take action when the Heavenly Saint comes back from his spiritual journey. Wu Xingzuan and others have been undecided about Mr. Xing's suggestion. However, Huanwu Tianzuan's words prompted Saint Hao to make a decision and wait for Tianzuan to return from his fugue. Xing Lao said, he has come back. Sure enough, within a few seconds they sensed the aura of the Heavenly Saint. Wu Xingzuan said, it seems that the big rune changed, causing Tian Xingzuan to interrupt his wandering. Each time the mind travels, it can be as short as 10 years or as long as hundreds of miles. It was only a short time ago this time, less than a year before it was interrupted due to an accident. You can't just go anywhere and anytime, it requires many conditions. It is not easy for Tian Xingzuan to travel once. This time it was interrupted, and I don't know when the next time will be. The whole body of Tian Xingzuan was glowing with golden light, like a golden meteor rushing towards everyone's eyes. At this time, Tian Xingzuan had just finished his fugue, his breath was still unstable, but his face was filled with excitement. Wu Xingzuan and Tian Xingzuan were very familiar with each other. When they saw something wrong, they asked, what did you see during this wandering? Tian Xingzuan said, this time I traveled into another world, and that world is very strange. Xing Lao frowned, another world? Tell me more specifically. Advertisement. Tian Xingzuan said, the cultivators in that world are very strange. They can summon a strange kind of armor. After wearing the armor, their combat power will be greatly increased. The armor is also divided into many levels, roughly 4 levels, iron, copper, silver, and gold. People in this world will awaken the power of summoning when they are 10 years old. After practicing, the power of summoning can be enhanced, and then they can summon different levels of armor. A practitioner who can summon a battle armor is called Ren. Zhang. Tian Xingzuan spoke of a completely different power system. After hearing this, Xing Lao fell into deep thought. Saint Hao said, it seems that this time of traveling as a god, you have indeed gained something. You have entered such a strange world. In the past, when you traveled in the world, you were basically from other clans or outside the territory. I don't know where this small world is located. I will go and see it when I have time. Tian Xingzuan shook his head. I originally wanted to determine the location, but my wandering was suddenly interrupted and I couldn't determine the location. What a pity. Saint Hao sighed. Lin Moyu's heart moved at this time. Tian Xingzuan, can you draw a specific look? Tian Xingzuan immediately drew the appearance of the armor. There are 2 images of the armor when it has just been summoned, and the image when it is worn on the body. Lin Moyu's heart beat a beat faster and he whispered, how could it be? Tian Xingzuan asked strangely, little friend Lin, have you seen a battle armor? Lin Moyu nodded. When I was still in the small world, there was a special profession in the world called Xingqianwang. The Star Warriors come from a place called the Saint Fighter Realm. I didn't know much about it at the time. Looking back now, the Star Warriors seem to have different power systems from ours. Tianqing Zun was also moved and said, in the world where I travel, there is also the Saint Fighter domain, and the strongest among them is called Saint Fighter. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. Yes, it's the Saint Seiya. Everyone in the small world has experienced career changes, and many forces have their own exclusive careers. At the time, they thought it was normal and no one raised any questions. In his current state, Lin Moyu thought about the small world again and found that his small world was getting weirder. Advertisement. The Star Warriors of the Saint Domain are very strange. Their power system is incompatible with most professions. Unexpectedly, they turned out to be from another world. At this time, Xing Lao's deep voice sounded, "Trouble." Several people were stunned, not understanding what the trouble was. Xing Lao said, "Under the protection of the Golden Rule and the Human Emperor, your soul has the opportunity to go far away. You may not have entered a small world this time during your fugue, but you may have accidentally gone to another world, the real world. Although the distance of the wandering mind is very far, it actually has a limit, and it is impossible to exceed this limit. So this is troublesome. It means that this world is very close to us. The big world continues to expand, and sooner or later it will encounter other worlds. When the two worlds collide, there will inevitably be conflict." Li Nuo District. The world war is no better than the race war, and may even be more cruel. If it were placed in ancient times, when the big world was at its most powerful, and they could encounter other worlds, those heavenly beings would probably be overjoyed. Discovering new worlds and plundering the origins of the world is something they do a lot. But now, although the big world is still very big, the ruins of the big world are on the verge of collapse, and it is difficult to find even a supreme being in the world. When you are extremely weak, encountering other worlds is no different from seeking death. One wave has not subsided, and another wave has arisen. Lin Moyu felt a headache. Not only Lin Moyu, but also several saints also had extremely headaches. Xing Lao said, "But the collision of worlds is not that easy, and it also takes a long time. The close distance I am talking about is different from what you understand. From the perspective of the boundaries of the world, it may be tens of millions of light years apart, which is already very close. Do what we should do, no matter whether a collision occurs or not, strength comes first." Lin Moyu returned to his training room, and the next arrangements for the human race were left to Tianqingzhen. Originally, Saint Hao could still discuss it together, but now he has one more thing to do and has to take care of Xiao Wu. Lin Moyu has discovered that Wu Xingzuan is really good to Xiao Wu. I don't know why, these two people are so in love. So good. Lin Moyu's mood was a little complicated at the moment. He found that he knew too many things, and there were many things that he could not tell and needed to bear on his own. Several saints of the human race have taken the wrong path. Even if the divine path is recast in the future, they can only reach the supreme realm at best. Tianzuan is no longer possible, the supreme peak is their limit. The big world is really weak now. Those worlds that were once plundered by the big world also have supreme beings in them, and there may be more than one. With the current strength of the great world, if we encounter such a world again, it will be a disaster. What's more, the inside of the big world is still a mess so far. There are many ethnic groups and constant disputes. Under such circumstances, when encountering foreign enemies, the field is almost over. I hope it can take a little longer. Lin Moyu sighed softly. All he could do was practice hard and improve his realm as soon as possible. Sitting cross-legged in the void, Lin Moyu's heart completely calmed down. The fingertips sparkled 520 times, and the soul power flows and converges on the fingertips, drawing runes in the void. After receiving the inheritance from the holy talisman Tianzuan, it is natural to master all the runes that are not yet mastered. In particular, there are several runes among them that have a great attraction for Lin Moyu. Advertisement. The core of the entire big world is a huge rune. All laws, creatures, plants, trees, mountains, and rocks, the starry sky world, everything evolved from that rune. It is precisely because of this that runes can be used to express everything in this world. In the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, there are space runes and time runes. These two types of runes are high-level runes, and they are the most complex among high-level runes. The space runes are subdivided again and can be divided into multiple functions, such as compression, expansion, stabilization, blockade, etc. Various runes fuse with each other to form new fusion runes, and when combined with other runes, more functions can be achieved. The same is true for time runes. The three main functions of the runes are to slow down, accelerate, and stop. If you want to achieve other functions, you also need a variety of runes to fuse. Lin Moyu thought of a method from this. After mastering the space and time runes, he wanted to fuse the two Kage runes and then use them as a reference to integrate his own laws. After his calculations, he felt that this method was feasible. So, he once again fell into the study of runes. The explosive luck technique is activated again and again, and luck is detonated again and again. With the blessing of good luck, Lin Moyu's learning speed is incredibly fast. Each rune was quickly mastered and fully understood. Even Lin Moyu had to admit that he did have a talent in runes that ordinary people could not match. In the inheritance description of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, time and space runes are the most difficult of all advanced runes. Its difficulty even exceeds some fusion runes. Even some talisman formations are not as difficult as those of time and space, because they are the only two types of three-dimensional runes. But in front of Lin Moyu, there is still no difficulty at all. Whether it was comprehension ability or explosive luck, Lin Moyu mastered it in a very short period of time. Advertisement. Lin Moyu mastered more and more runes, and gradually became more and more familiar with the inheritance of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. The changes in the big world are not only felt by the human race, but also by other races. Although they are not able to sense the runes of the big world like Mr. Xing, they can probably understand what is going on. Over the years, they have sensed the changes in the world, and anyone who is not an idiot can guess it. According to Mr. Xing's prediction, those powerful clans will also take action in the future. The human race must be the first to take the lead. In a short period of time, you can grab as many resources as possible. Thanks to the transformation of human warships by the Starry Skyfish human race, a large number of human warships have deep space navigation capabilities, which provides great convenience for this operation. Once a decision is made, the efficiency of the human race is extremely high. With the existence of human network, all orders can be delivered in a very short time. The human army moved silently, and the strong men from the other shore realm and the men and horses from the Temple of War were dispatched. The god of war usually does not take action, but when it does, it is almost a battle of genocide. This time, the Temple of War is still the main force, and the targets are various small races that have no starting point. Among these small races, they all attacked the human race, occupied the human race's resources, and destroyed the human race's galaxy 100,000 years ago. Later, due to Xiao Zhantian's counterattack, these small races were almost beaten to collapse and almost exterminated. They fled their ancestral land and went to the fringe areas, and then they managed to settle down. It can be said that they have a feud with the human race. It's just that the human race has been developing and growing since then, and we haven't dealt with them anymore. Now, naturally, I am the first to take action on them. The targets of the human race's first action were three small races, namely the Yuya tribe and the Kashan tribe and the Luolin tribe. The three races are all plant-based ethnic groups, and the population of each ethnic group does not exceed 10 billion. They are truly small races. Advertisement. The strongest among the clan is only the peak god, and there are very few of them, and there are none in the other side realm. It does not occupy more than 100 galaxies. It can be said that its strength is only comparable to that of the butterfly clan. To deal with such a race, the human race has no pressure at all. The Temple of War dispatched troops and cooperated with the military to launch operations against 3 small tribes at the same time. This trip is both revenge and genocide. However, it is different from the eradication of the Buddha clan. Try not to destroy the galaxy as much as possible. Only kill people, don't damage anything, and all the resources must be brought back by the human race. The huge team sailed into deep space and disappeared silently. The Heavenly Saint is sitting in the central temple of the Divine City, with a large starry sky above his head, and the Human Emperor Network transmits the pictures of the human race's actions back in real time. Watching the battleship disappear, Tian Xingzuan said to the Void, "I wonder what Yu Qimei and the others would think." "Human Emperor, what do you think?" The voice of Renhuang Network sounded, "The most they can do is think about it. They don't dare to take any action. They don't even dare to ask." Tian Xingzuan showed a sneer. "Those guys from the Starry Sky Fishman clan think that their hands and feet are very clean, so what the heck are they?" Human Emperor Network said, "Maybe they are afraid of us." Tian Xingzuan asked, "Have you mastered the method of transforming deep space navigation?" "Still researching, it still takes time. The Starry Skyfish people have made tricks on every modified warship. Although it only serves the purpose of sensing and monitoring, it has already made Wu Xingzuan and others unhappy. It's just that the 2 sides were cooperating at the time, and Tian Xingzuan didn't tell them." During the transformation, the Human Emperor Network comprehensively recorded the transformation method, analyzed it, and converted it into the human race's own formation. Foreigners have no idea how terrifying and powerful the Human Emperor Network is. Renhuang Network suddenly said, "I have something to tell you. While you were wandering in your mind, Yu Qimei once launched an assassination attempt on Lin Moyu. Terrifying murderous intent rushed out from the central temple, almost covering half of the Divine City. The Divine City buzzed and vibrated, and countless formations moved accordingly to stabilize the Divine City. Many people in the Divine City felt chills coming from the bottom of their hearts for a moment. They didn't know what happened and why the Holy Lord was suddenly furious. Renhuang Network explained the situation at that time. Yu Qimei should have used those magic weapons of cause and effect, and the reason should be that Lin Moyu understood the laws of space. Tian Xingzuan snorted coldly, "I know, those guys are looking for death." The calm voice of the Human Emperor Network continued, "The Starry Sky Fishman clan has 3 saints on the surface, but there may be hidden power secretly. But they probably don't have any background, but it doesn't rule out that they have magic weapons that are comparable to their background. And I suggest you ask Lin Moyu about this. His relationship with Yu Qingru is unusual. At the same time, you have to consider Luoshin. Luoshin is still alive and she may come back at any time. Although the territory is far away, it won't be a problem for her." Listening to the analysis of Human Emperor Network, Tian Xingzuan thought thoughtfully, "If this is the case, then it is really better to ask Lin Xiaoyu. This matter is not urgent. After all, on the surface, we are still friends. Whether they are enemies or friends in the future depends on their own choices. In addition to love, there are more interests between races." In the eyes of Tian Xingzuan, there are no eternal friends, but there are definitely eternal enemies, such as the demons. No matter how great the interests are, it is impossible to change the relationship between the 2 races, even if the world is destroyed. As long as there is a chance to kill each other, the 2 tribes will definitely do it at any cost. Among the Starry Skyfish people, Yu Qimei urgently called the 2 great elders. Yu Qimei whispered, "The human race's warships are dispatched on a large scale. Their direction is the 3 small tribes on the edge." The 2 elders couldn't help but sigh. It seems that the human race is going to take revenge. The human race has been waiting for 100,000 years and is finally taking action. The Buddha clan and the Sannin clan are just trying their best, and the human clan has not tried its best at all. In order to lure Lin Moyu, the human army pressed on the border before, but they also didn't use all their strength. With the accumulation of 100,000 years, the power hidden by the human race is absolutely terrifying. The world is going to be in chaos. Don't worry about anything else. Why don't we think about how to protect ourselves? We have been hiding from the world for too long, and we don't have many choices. The three of them discussed how to deal with it. Because of the transformation of the warship, they could know the movements of the human race at the first time. In this way, it can be regarded as taking advantage of it. It just depends on whether it can take advantage of this opportunity. It is precisely because I have been hiding from the world for too long that I have lost my judgment on many things in the big world. A few days later, human warships suddenly appeared, blocking the space and starting a massacre. The human race's methods are extremely fierce. Once they start, it will be a war of annihilation, leaving no chickens or dogs behind. Full preparations were made in advance, the space was completely sealed, and communications were also isolated. News from the three tribes could not be spread at all. Even some areas on the periphery were cleared by strong human beings. In just 10 days, this sudden and modest battle came to an end. The Yuya tribe, the Kashan tribe, and the Luolin tribe, these three tribes have since been removed from the big world. Occasionally, if a fish slips through the net, they can only escape outside the territory. After this news came out, the whole world was in an uproar. Strong men from all races rushed to the territories of the three tribes. After careful inspection, it was determined that the human race had taken action. For a time, the world was in turmoil. Senior officials from all races have similar ideas. The human race has finally begun to take revenge. 100,000 years ago, more than 200 races, large and small, joined forces, but in the end they failed to wipe out the human race from the big world. In the end, in Xiao Zhantian's counterattack, dozens of clans were wiped out and dozens of clans were maimed. Other ethnic groups also paid more or less the price. In that war, the human race suffered heavy casualties and the population decreased by 99%. But all ethnic groups are actually having a hard time, and it can be said that both sides suffer. The blood feud has been concluded. Obviously, this matter is not over for the human race. After 100,000 years of recuperation, the human race finally began to take revenge. First, he used the Buddha clan to test his skills, and then, with lightning power, taking advantage of the crisis of the spirit-devouring clan, he defeated the three silver clan like lightning. Later, in order to attract Lin Moyu, they pressed heavily on the demon clan, which was extremely powerful. Now, with the power of thunder, the three tribes were directly eliminated. Although the Yuya, Kashan, and Luolin tribes are all small tribes, the absolute strength of the human race can be seen from the fact that the human race killed all three tribes at the same time. The three tribes were wiped out, leaving behind a ruined star field. Countless planets have been shattered, and the entire space in the starry sky is still struggling to recover, and the recovery speed is extremely slow. The aura of the Holy Lord and the Other Shore still lingers in the starry sky, and the field is rich. Demon Clan, Golden Eagle Clan, Flying Python Clan, Bull Demon Clan, Black Stone Clan, etc. Powerful men from all races came to this starry sky with extremely solemn eyes. The human race is so cruel. Really, no chickens or dogs were left behind, not even a single star was left behind. The galaxy has been beaten like this, and the number of holy lords dispatched by the human race this time is quite large. At this moment, the tribe is no longer in danger. Except for those races that have attacked the human race, even the races that have not attacked the human race are beginning to feel a little weak. Even if they have not attacked the human race, their relationship with the human race is not good, and there are always small frictions. If the human race really starts to take revenge, will they also take revenge on them? Many races are not powerful races. If the human race really wants to attack them, they will be unable to resist. They began to consider whether to join forces with others and form an alliance, which might even make the human race fearful. The fire of the abyss burned blazingly, turning the starry sky green, and the abyss demon lord appeared in the fire of the abyss. The Holy Lord's aura spread out overwhelmingly, and everyone present lowered their heads unconsciously, with fear in their eyes. The demon lord of the abyss laughed coldly. Everyone should have heard that there is a saying among the human race, which is that those who are not from our race must have different hearts. If the human race really starts to take revenge, then all grudges, big and small, may be settled. The meaning in his words was obvious. The human race would not be reasonable, and no one would be able to escape by then. The Abyss Demon Lord noticed the changes in everyone's expressions and continued with a sinister smile. You are all high-ranking members of the clan, and you should know something about the history of the human race. I think you all know more or less what our origins are like and how the human race has treated us. After going through that war, we were the ones who managed to survive, but 100,000 years ago, we still couldn't wipe out the human race. Now that the human race is back, have you thought about it? After he said this, everyone's expressions changed. The Demon Lord of the Abyss is right. They are all high-level people from various races. They all know some history and the origin of their race. If we want to elaborate, no matter whether they attacked the human race 100,000 years ago, at the source, they have enmity with the human race. In ancient times, they also had a name, traitors. The Demon Lord of the Abyss knew that his words had taken effect, and said in an extremely cold voice, "Everyone, think about it carefully when you go back." Dark green flames exploded, and the Abyss Demon Lord disappeared without a trace. The expressions of the strong men from all races who remained were very complicated. Then each of them turned around and left with their own thoughts in mind. In the central hall of the divine city, the heavenly saint said in a low voice, "How's it going? Are those guys suspicious?" Fu Xingzuan closed his eyes, and runes were beating on his fingertips. After a moment, he said in a deep voice, "It doesn't seem suspicious, but the Demon Lord of the Abyss is here, and he seems to be encouraging others to come." What the Abyss Demon Lord will say, the Heavenly Saint Lord can know without guessing. There was a hint of disdain in his eyes. Do you want to unite for the second time and destroy our human race? This kind of bedbug that only hides in dark places can only do this kind of thing. From the bottom of my heart, Yin Xingzuan looked down on the Abyss Demon Lord. Tianqingzhen understands the Golden Rule, and is also called Tianqingzhen. It is in response to the brilliant power of God in the Golden Rule. The rules are sublimated, and the rules are like the scorching sun and the golden sun, majestic and majestic. What I dislike the most is this kind of Abyss Demon Lord who lives in a dark corner and only engages in conspiracy. Fu Xingzuan corrected Tian Xingzuan, "If there is one, it will be the third time." Tian Xingzuan hummed, "If you think about it this way, it is indeed the third time. Let's put it this way, every one of those guys has a grudge against our human race." His eyes shone brightly. "Finally I found a reason to take action. Those races that did not participate in the coalition 240 to 100,000 years ago, if the human race wants to touch them, they still need to find a reasonable reason. Of course, it's okay not to find a reason, but some people will have trouble getting through it psychologically. Now I finally find the reason. In ancient times, these guys were traitors to the world. If it weren't for them, the world wouldn't be what it is now. Maybe the heavenly lords at that time had counterattacked into the Black Blood realm and brought over the origins of the Black Blood realm. If that were the case, what would the world be like?" Tian Xingzuan said with cold murderous intent, "Now that we have the reason, let them do whatever they want, and we will proceed as planned. This time they have no doubts. That's for the best, and they will do the same next time." The three tribes were wiped out, and countless star fragments floated in the starry sky. It looks like a doomsday scene where the galaxy is invaded and no one is left behind. But in fact, most of the stars among the three races were intact and were smuggled back by the strong men of the human race. Advertisement. The human race has been prepared for a long time, and the formations unfolded, shrinking the stars. At the same time, the human race also brought countless fragments, scattering them all over the starry sky, making it look like the galaxy was destroyed. In order to be more real, the human race Holy Lord in Bien also deliberately left a large number of traces, residual powerful aura, and took the initiative to expose themselves. So far, this plan seems to be very successful. Revenge of genocide is only one of them, the real purpose is resources. The heavenly saint faced the void and said, "Human Emperor, you can start moving over there." A few seconds later, the voice from Renhuang Network came, "I'm already making preparations, I need time." Tian Xingzuan nodded, "No rush, we also need time, including those guys, don't push them too hard." After the force of thunder destroyed the three tribes, the human race fell silent again. In the days that followed, the world seemed to have returned to its former peace. The human race made no move and had no intention of continuing to take revenge. As a result, the various races that had originally planned to form an alliance began to hesitate again. The whole world seems to have entered a strange state, and the atmosphere has become very weird. There were soft sounds in Lin Moyu's practice room, and a strange and weird aura spread throughout the practice room. A rune kept flying in the training room. It kept flashing and appearing in every corner, like teleportation, at an extremely fast speed. If anyone is here, they will definitely be surprised that the speed can be so fast. There is obviously only one rune, but it looks like there are countless. Lin Moyu controls this rune like a work of art. As the owner of the runes, he knew very well that the reason for this was because the runes disrupted time. The time and space where the runes are located is chaotic, which is why the runes appear to be extremely fast, far exceeding Hotang. Lin Moyu stretched out his hand and the rune flew back and fell into his hand. The runes swirled on the fingertips. The three-dimensional runes were extremely mysterious and charming. Time runes and space runes are both three-dimensional runes and are much more complex than ordinary advanced runes. Advertisement. Similarly, fusing two runes together becomes more complicated. For rune fusion, as long as the vibration frequency is kept consistent, perfect fusion can be achieved. Even three-dimensional runes are theoretically the same. The difference is that its vibration frequency is divided into multiple levels. In each area, there is its own vibration frequency. It seems that its body is composed of dozens of completely different runes. It is this change that is difficult for Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu tried his best to adjust the vibration frequency of the runes, but every time he finished adjusting an area, the vibration frequency of another area changed slightly. No matter how he adjusted it, the entire rune was in chaotic vibrations, unable to fuse at all. Lin Moyu tried countless times but failed. Fortunately, Lin Moyu was patient enough. He relied on his talent for runes and the bonus of explosive luck to find the root cause of the problem. He believes that what others can do, he can also do. After trying again and again, he found that the real problem lay in the drawing. Some problems have already arisen when drawing these two types of runes. This also leads to the fact that there are internal differences in runes that appear to be complete. Later, he learned to draw runes again, one stroke at a time, like a beginner, learning again. The first thing Lin Moyu learned was the space rune, called the space-locking talisman. Its function is to block space, and it is also the most commonly used method when various races fight. Lin Moyu had come into contact with the air-locking formation countless times before and it had similar functions. Just using runes to represent it is closer to the essence of the world. When drawing, start paying attention to the vibration frequency of the runes. Do your best to keep the vibration frequency of the rune itself consistent. This is difficult, but Lin Moyu takes the trouble. Advertisement. He couldn't remember how many times he drew runes in a year. He only knew that he kept drawing, all the time. Drawing time and space runes will consume a lot of soul power. An ordinary second-level god will exhaust his soul power after drawing it a dozen times at most. But Lin Moyu relied on the continuous replenishment of the world tree and could draw non-stop. After thousands of attempts, Lin Moyu finally got the hang of it. What Holy Talisman Tianzuan gave was only inheritance, and various details need to be understood by Lin Moyu himself. It took him nearly a year to finally understand. The importance of each stroke and the amount of soul power consumed are all clearly understood. Too much won't work, and too little won't work either. Finally, he drew an almost perfect three-dimensional benefit, Swokanji. The perfect airlocking talisman looks little different from the previous one, 0.4, but when every stroke is put together, it has a natural feeling. From the soul level, the vibration frequency of the entire space locking talisman is exactly the same, and there is no difference in each area. The effect is not as good as the locking formation for the time being, but the meaning is different. Lin Moyu knows that his foundation has been laid firmly. One method leads to all methods. When the airlocking talisman reached perfection, Lin Moyu lost control and quickly drew the remaining talisman's mastery. The time runes were more difficult, but they still didn't stump him. Just 1 month later, the time runes were also drawn perfectly. The fusion of the remaining runes came naturally. Lin Moyu chose the light-retaining talisman and the sky-leaping talisman for fusion. The light-retaining charm can preserve time and slow down the flow of time. The sky jump talisman can travel through space and achieve an effect similar to teleportation. The two runes merged perfectly to form a perfect fusion text. The perfect fusion of the light-retaining talisman and the sky-leaping talisman formed a new rune that had both the attributes of time and space. After testing by Lin Moyu, this rune can slow down the flow of time, and the effect is about 3 times. It is even more powerful than when he uses the law of time himself. And it can strengthen one's ability to cross space, which can be enhanced by almost 3 times. In other words, under the influence of this rune, he can take 3 steps in a row, and the first step is as high as 90 million kilometers. As a result, the speed reaches 270 million kilometers per second. This is just the beginning stage. Lin Moyu knows that the runes can be stronger. Unfortunately, the rune's duration is too short. If used directly, it can only last 10 minutes. But these 10 minutes are just 30 minutes for the user. 3 times the time. Let's call you the 3-light talisman. Lin Moyu's heart moved and he chose a name for the rune he fused. The name was chosen at random. It's not very nice, but it doesn't matter. The 3-light talisman is just the beginning. In the future, there will be 6-light talisman, 9-light talisman, even 100-light talisman, and 10,000-light talisman. However, for Lin Moyu, the most important thing about the 3-light talisman is not to use it, but to refer to it. Lin Moyu wants to use the 3-light talisman to integrate his time laws and space laws. Whether it is the way of laws or the way of runes, Lin Moyu does not want to let go. He wants to pursue multiple paths in parallel and find his own path. This road is destined to be difficult, but he must make it. When he made this decision, he thought of what Antares once said. It is difficult to take the strongest path, but if you succeed, you will dominate the world. In the small world, he did it. Relying on his own talent, he transformed all his skills into magic planets, and then sublimated them into magic stars. In the big world, he believes that he can also get through. Advertisement. Antares, when are you coming out? The image of Antares appeared in Lin Moyu's mind. This close friend has been waiting for a long time. 2 law galaxies emerged at the same time, the law of time and the law of space, rippling with infinite power in the practice room. The formation in the training room continues to operate and is stable. Using the 3-light talisman as a reference, Lin Moyu began to merge the 2 laws. Explosive luck is activated again to help Lin Moyu. The continuous message of soul power guides the law. The roar resounded through the training room, and the entire training room was shaken to the point of trembling. The 2 laws continue to merge and fail, erupting with terrifying energy. Fortunately, the training room in the Divine City is very considerate, and the formations inside are powerful enough so it can be moved to another place. A random explosion can blow up a star and annihilate a small world. As time goes by, the roar of the collision of laws becomes louder and louder, and the vibrations become more intense. The training room could no longer absorb all the energy, and the training began to dissipate. The extremely solid training room began to show cracks. Above the Divine City, the rays of light exploded, and the Human Emperor Network directly interfered with reality, gathering thousands of rays of light. The light shrouded the practice room and stabilized the practice room. The unusual movements in the training room attracted the attention of many people nearby. There were many gods in the divine city, and they all gathered out of curiosity. However, they couldn't get close. The power of the Human Emperor Network isolated the training room from the outside world. Soon, the sky was filled with people, at least 100 gods. The weakest among them is also a high-level god. What law is this? I don't know, I seem to feel the breath of space. Advertisement. These laws are very strange, they don't seem to be the same kind of laws. It should be integrating the law. It is not easy to fuse the laws. It can be seen that these two laws are very strong, so it is even more difficult to fuse them. Yes, in my opinion, these two laws, at least the laws of the second echelon, are not easy to fuse. Because of the Human Emperor Network, the auras felt by these gods were deviated. Otherwise, someone must be able to recognize that it is the law of time and the law of space. A golden ray of light flew from afar and arrived in front of him across thousands of miles in an instant. The figure of Tianqingzun was revealed in the golden light, and all the gods immediately saluted and said hello to Tianqingzun. Tianqingzun, do you know what laws the person inside is integrating? His laws seem to be a little too powerful, and even the training room can hardly hold them. I'm a little curious. Tianqingzun's eyes swept over calmly, and a golden light flashed across. Everyone, please retreat first. He did not explain, but directly asked the gods to retreat. These deities are all seasoned and sophisticated, and as soon as they heard these words, they knew that something was going on. Don't know what you shouldn't know. These old guys immediately resigned and left faster than when they came. In the blink of an eye, there was no one around. Tianqingzun said to the void, Human Emperor, how is it? Renhuang Network said, Lin Moyu is integrating the laws of time and space. The two laws collided and exploded with so much power that the training room could not withstand it. Tianqingzun asked, is there any way to strengthen it? Renhuang Network did not answer immediately and seemed to be thinking. The training room in the Divine City is already very strong, and even the peak deity will not have a problem practicing in it. If you can't hold on even here, you can only go to practice in the starry sky. For example, those places where the other side is located. Advertisement. It's a good place to practice, and it's safe enough. After a while, the Human Emperor Network said, unless a new training room is built, there is nothing we can do about this training room. As soon as my power is withdrawn, this training room will collapse immediately. Not even the Human Emperor Network can do anything about it, and there is nothing the Holy Lord can do. Tianqingzun thought for a moment and said, inform Lin Moyu and ask him to stop and change places. Renhuang Network can't keep wasting its power interfering with reality. It's not worth it. It's better to change places. After a few seconds, the roar became more intense, and it seemed that 340 had no intention of stopping. The Human Emperor Network said, no, he has entered a state of oblivion, and I can't contact him. The Heavenly Saint said, remove your power and let me block it. Exclamation point. The Human Emperor Network was very straightforward and put away its power without any hesitation. Numerous cracks appeared on the training room instantly. With quick eyes and quick hands, Tianqingzun took action directly. A ball of golden power of rules, like the scorching sun across the sky, enveloped the training room. The moment the two exchanged power, the training room collapsed. The huge power broke through the formation in the training room and spread outward. The golden sun twisted and deformed, but in the end it was blocked. The corners of Tianqingzun's mouth twitched. This power has surpassed Shinshue. The power of the fusion of the laws of time and the laws of space is so powerful. Tianqingzun suddenly thought of the power of time and space he had seen before. Outside the small world where Lin Moyu was born, those gods were killed silently. The power of time and space was very terrifying, and he felt a little frightened at that time. Thinking about it this way, looking at the strength Lin Moyu is showing now, I don't feel anything at all. If the training room explodes, let's just say it explodes. Fortunately, it doesn't affect other places. I saw Lin Moyu's eyes close tightly, and two law galaxies appeared above his head, constantly colliding. The corners of Tianqingzhen's mouth couldn't help but twitch again. This guy is so hard. The two law galaxies are constantly colliding, and every time they collide, amazing power will erupt. Tianqingzhen finally knew why even the training room in the Divine City could not hold up. It was the collision of the laws and galaxies. How could it hold up? This is too messy. Tianqingzhen was a little shocked and confused. He naturally knows that the fusion of laws is very difficult, especially the laws of time and the laws of space, which are even more difficult. But the fusion of laws also requires skills, and no one can do it as hard as Lin Moyu. Based on his understanding of Lin Moyu was not such a person, and he couldn't help but have doubts in his heart. Gradually, he discovered some clues. What seems like a barbaric and unreasonable collision actually contains skills. Every time the two law galaxies collide, they reach a fixed point. What really collided was not the law galaxy itself, but a small tributary belonging to Lin Moyu's tributary. The law galaxy is formed naturally. Lin Moyu cannot control it, but he can control his tributaries to a certain extent. This is how Lin Moyu tries to completely control the part of himself in collisions. Lin Moyu has long been in a state of oblivion, completely unaware of what is happening in the outside world. He regarded the law as a rune, and it was a rune that would never be damaged or collapse. In the constant collision, he felt the differences and similarities between the two laws, looking for the fusion point. And in the constant collision, Lin Yu's understanding and control of the two laws are improving. Lin Moyu hopes that the two laws can go hand in hand. Now, he has realized his idea in this unique way. Advertisement. Tianqingzhen's golden sun was distorted again, and the power burst out from collisions continued to consume the golden sun. Tianqingzhen was helpless and could only increase the power of rules to maintain the stability of the golden sun. Otherwise, the force of the explosion alone would be enough to level the surrounding area. How long will it take to get this guy? Tianqingzhen thought in his heart. There was no way, he could only stay here until Lin Moyu finished. For a moment, Tianqingzhen felt that he had become a tool for Lin Moyu's cultivation. 2 days later, Tianqingzhen suddenly felt some changes, and the power of the explosion seemed to have weakened. In 2 days, the law galaxy collided thousands of times, and finally changed. The impact of the explosion has weakened, but a more terrifying force has been born. A strange breath appeared in the golden sun, a tiny air current that was generated during the collision. Wherever the airflow passed, Tianqingzhen felt that the power of his rules suddenly lost contact. Every part of the power of rules contains his will, and can be controlled by him at will, like an arm. But now, my power suddenly disappeared, and only part of it disappeared. This feeling is very strange. What surprised him most was that the lost part of the power was restored in the blink of an eye. It seems that the disappearance of that moment is an illusion. Tianqingzhen was horrified and shocked. He succeeded. He realized that this kind of disappearance was just like when the gods outside the small world were beheaded. The power of his rules did not disappear, but was brought into another time and space. If we think of the entire golden sun as a whole, the time belonging to a small part of it suddenly changes, becoming a few seconds slower or faster than other parts. Advertisement. The changed part will be separated from the whole and disappear temporarily. When the effect disappears, the missing part will reappear and return to its original state again. Although Tianqingzhen doesn't understand what the laws of time and the laws of space are, he can analyze them roughly. Lin Moyu did succeed, at least partially. Lin Moyu merged some of the laws of space and time to produce new power. Lin Moyu called this power the power of time and space. The part where the golden scorching sun disappeared was affected by the power of time and space and was temporarily separated from real time and space. Just like those killed gods outside the small world, their souls and bodies entered different time and space respectively. Their bodies were broken and their souls could not sense it at all. In the end, when the time and space of the two parties are restored and all the damage is sustained, life will end. Lin Moyu naturally couldn't do that step, but he had a prototype. As long as his laws of time and space continue to strengthen, he can eventually kill people invisible. The roar disappeared, the law galaxies no longer collided, and calm returned again. Lin Moyu returned from a state of forgetfulness, with a trace of satisfaction in his expression. The two laws merged, and he finally took the most important step. Feeling the familiar golden rule, he glanced around and Lin Moyu already knew what was going on. He saluted respectfully towards the Heavenly Saint. "Thank you very much, Heavenly Saint, for protecting the Dharma." Tian Xingzuan removed his power and laughed loudly. "Not bad, it's really good." Lin Moyu said, "I will find a way to compensate for the damage it has caused to the city of God." Tian Xingzuan smiled and said, "No need to pay, let alone just one training room. It doesn't matter if there are hundreds or thousands of them. As long as you don't blow up the divine city, I'll do whatever you want." It is rare for such a genius to appear in the human race, so a mere training room is nothing. Advertisement. Now Lin Moyu and his sister are the human race's greatest hope. Tianqing and his two siblings can break through to the Supreme, and those who can rebuild the divine path can also take a step further. Compared with these, the mere losses are indeed nothing. Tian Xingzuan took Lin Moyu away, and naturally someone would deal with the ruins. Returning to the central temple, Tian Xingzuan asked, "If Xiao Yulin wants to continue to retreat, I have found another place for you." Obviously, the ordinary training room is no longer suitable for Lin Moyu. Even the training rooms in the Divine City are not good, especially the training rooms elsewhere. Tianqingzhen has experienced Lin Moyu's power, and the collision of laws can erupt with destructive power that surpasses the peak deity. Unless a training room is built with other side materials, it will not be able to withstand it at all. But the other side realm materials are not so easy to find. There are not many humans in the first place, and they are all used in key places. It is too extravagant to build a training room. However, if Lin Moyu really has a need in this area, it is not impossible to consider it. Knowledge. Lin Moyu shook his head slightly. "After several years of retreat, I have learned something new and gained some information from the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan. I'm going to a few places and some things. In the inheritance of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, there are not only methods of learning runes, but also things that Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord once left in the big world. Runes are not just drawable. If you want to go into battle, you also need some special methods to save them. Otherwise, if you draw them every time you need them, how can your opponent give you these opportunities?" Talisman tools and rune collections were born among the talisman masters. Use the rune magic weapon to store runes and use them directly when needed. You can also turn rune magic weapons into various weapons, combat puppets, or even refine the runes into your body and use yourself as a rune magic weapon. Rune magic weapons are the tools of the talisman master, and they have the same effect as magic weapons made by refining weapons. Ancient Talisman Warrior is the most powerful rune magic weapon created by Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. Human Emperor Network has opened high-level permissions for Lin Moyu, allowing Lin Moyu to have unimpeded access throughout the human star field. On the surface, he is only a mid-level employee, but he can go anywhere. In the history of the human race, no more than 10 people have this kind of privilege. Even those saints in the human race still need to upgrade their level and authority little by little when they are young. Several saints had discussed giving Lin Moyu absolute freedom. Therefore, on the way of cultivation, they rarely even gave any advice, and they all allowed Lin Moyu to develop freely. They will only leave the town when Lin Moyu needs help. However, this kind of thing is becoming less and less common now. Lin Moyu left in his own battleship. What was special was not only him, but also his battleship. In addition to the personal warships of Xingzuan and Bianan, Lin Moyu's warships are among the few that have been modified and have deep space navigation capabilities. With this battleship, even if Lin Muyu accidentally strays outside the territory again, as long as he is not too far away and has not lost his way, he can return to the territory. The battleship sailed in deep space, and Lin Muyu could clearly feel the power of space coming from the core of the battleship. If I use the law of space to drive the battleship, it shouldn't make it faster. But warships are just dead objects after all. If we can really control the laws of space, we will no longer need warships. Just like Luo Shen, if you open the door to space, you will be millions of light years away in an instant. What deep navigation can't be compared to? Unfortunately, thinking of that level is still too far away for me at the moment. But in the future, it won't be a problem. My goal is not just Luo Shen. Lin Muyu never aims too high and never underestimates himself. His target is not Luo Shen, nor the Supreme, nor even Tianzuan. He will take the strongest path until the end. Advertisement. After flying for several hours, the battleship emerged in the starry sky. Lin Muyu recognized the direction, put away the battleship and stepped out. The law of time envelopes the whole body, and the law of space flows under the feet. The two laws merge together in a special state. The flow of time belonging to Lin Muyu slowed down twice, and 1 second in the real world became Lin Muyu's 2 seconds. The fusion of laws causes the laws of space to also increase. The distance at each step is twice as long as the previous one, a full 50 million kilometers. In other words, Lin Muyu can now travel 120 million kilometers every second, which is far faster than the god. Compared with the three-light talisman, it is inferior to the three-light talisman. The advantage is that there is no need to draw the talisman, which is extremely convenient. Lin Muyu keeps flashing in the starry sky, crossing the vast starry sky. He is now located in the Divine City Star Domain, an intermediate area, and his target is the galaxy numbered Zhong 26,999 degrees. There is a secret realm there, called the Treasure Ship Secret Realm. It is said that there is a treasure ship in the secret realm, which contains countless treasures, but no one has ever been able to enter the treasure ship and obtain the treasures inside. Lin Muyu passed the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan and compared it with what he had seen in ancient times. Learned the true identity of this treasure ship. The ancient talisman warrior is a rune treasure that Saint Talisman Tianzuan learned all his life and refined with a lifetime of effort. This is a puppet-type rune magic weapon. There are 3 similar holy runes Tianzuan created in total, each of which took thousands of years and countless rare materials. In the battle with the Black Blood Realm, the 3 ancient talisman warriors all fought until they collapsed. Most of the materials were destroyed in the battle, and only a small amount survived. As the ancient symbols evolved into the secret realm, they have remained in the secret realm. Some of these materials are rune magic weapons made by Holy Talisman Tianzuan himself. The entire ancient talisman warrior can be regarded as a collection of ancient talismans and many rune magic weapons. Advertisement. That treasure ship was among them. While the battleship was sailing, Lin Muyu had already checked the information in the Secret Realm Strategy Group. The treasure ship looks slightly damaged, but overall it is still in good condition. It can be judged from this that the main function of the treasure ship should be intact. As long as the damage is not too severe, Lin Muyu can still practice. In the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, there are all the materials for making this treasure ship, but it is difficult to find the corresponding materials now. Therefore, Lin Muyu gave up the idea of refining it by himself, and turned to the next best thing, searching for the remains of the Holy Talisman Tianzuan, Day. The treasure ship has 2 functions, namely to store runes and to gain runes. You can store the drawn runes in the treasure ship and take them out when needed. The runes stored in the treasure ship can also be nourished by the treasure ship and become more powerful. The treasure ship placed on the ancient talisman warrior is equivalent to a warehouse. If there is any damage during the battle, the runes in the treasure ship can automatically fly out and be repaired. Moreover, the treasure ship can also replenish the slight loss caused by the runes in battle in time. The ancient talisman warrior, which is comparable in size to dozens of galaxies, has hundreds of treasure ships in its body, located in various positions of the body. Unfortunately, most of these treasure ships were destroyed during the war. In the years that followed, even the broken pieces were taken away. There is only one surviving treasure ship in the secret realm. Lin Moyu even thought about whether there were runes drawn by the holy talisman Tianzuan in the treasure ship. But thinking about it, it is unlikely. The ancient rune warriors have all died in the battle, and those runes have long been exhausted in the battle. It is a great fortune that the treasure ship itself survived. Galaxy number 26,999 degrees appeared in the line of sight. The galaxy quickly magnified in the eyes. After a few seconds, Lin Moyu had already left the galaxy far behind. Advertisement. From the scale of the big starry sky, the space occupied by galaxies is actually only a very small area in the starry sky. The galaxy Zhone 26999 has a diameter of only 3 billion kilometers and is not large in scale. Lin Moyu can traverse it in less than 30 seconds. It has 1 star and 7 planets inside it, which is considered average among various galaxies. According to the calculation of the human race, with it as the center and a radius of 1 light year, it belongs to its area. There are basically no galaxies in these areas, and there are only some scattered stars. The starry sky is quite empty. It can be said that more than 99% of the area is void. But if it were placed in ancient times, this would not be the case at all. At that time, there were many stars and dense galaxies in the human star field. The strong men of the human race have gathered countless resources together. The distance between galaxies is often only 1 billion kilometers. Sometimes the diameter of a galaxy itself exceeds the distance to other galaxies. It can almost be said that they are right next to each other. If it were not controlled by the formation, these galaxies would almost collide. But in the battle with the Black Blood Realm, more than 90% of the galaxies were destroyed. Even the Great World runes were severely damaged, making it difficult to regenerate resources later. After that, there were successive wars, and a large number of galaxies were beaten to collapse, and the resources became less and less. In the end, it became what it is now. Lin Moyu knew that unless the Great World rune could be restored, the situation would only worsen. Previously, the human race destroyed 3 races and plundered hundreds of galaxies, all of which have been filled into the human star field. But compared with ancient times, it is still a huge difference. In his chaotic thoughts, Lin Moyu saw the secret realm of the treasure ship. 2 steps later, he appeared at the entrance of the treasure ship's secret realm and rushed in. Among the secret realms in the intermediate area, the treasure ship's secret realm is very famous. The treasure secret realm is relatively safe, and some special materials can be harvested in it. In the secret realm of the treasure ship, there is a material called rune gold, which is an excellent thing for refining rune magic weapons. Many talisman masters will pay a lot of money to purchase talisman gold. The higher the quality of talisman gold, the higher the price. You can complete the mission and earn the God City merit. The risk is not high, and you can also get additional materials and gain an extra piece of God City merit. Naturally, many people flock to such a good place. What's more, there are still treasure ships in the treasure ship secret realm. It is said that if you can board the treasure ship, you will be able to obtain a large number of treasures in the treasure ship and reach the sky in 1 step. There are even legends that the treasure ship contains the supreme inheritance of ancient powerful men. Unfortunately, no one has ever obtained a treasure ship. There are many advantages in treasure ship secret realm, but there are also disadvantages. When the treasure ship does not appear, the secret realm is relatively safe, but the amount of talisman gold is relatively small, and the quality is generally not high. Once a treasure ship appears, the amount of talisman gold will increase, and the quality will also be greatly improved. Similarly, when a treasure ship appears, it will be accompanied by inexplicable creatures, and those creatures will attack people in the secret realm. If you are accidentally targeted, you will be in danger. But for the sake of more and better talismans and the treasure ship, many people are willing to take this risk. Overall, Treasure Ship Secret Realm is a good place. At its entrance, a large number of practitioners gather all year round. The number is rarely less than 1,000, and sometimes it even exceeds 10,000. Even not far away, a small trading market has been opened. Some people sell talisman gold directly here, and some talisman masters come here specially to buy talisman gold. Lin Moyu suddenly appeared at the entrance of the secret realm and rushed in. The speed was so fast that no one could react. Some people who were about to enter the secret realm stopped one after another. "Who's in?" "I don't know." He seemed to appear suddenly and then went in. "Yes, that's what I saw. This speed is really too impressive. There is no trace of him flying over at all. It feels like he teleported." Several deities talked incessantly and looked surprised at the same time. They couldn't see clearly with their eyesight, so they could only say that the other party was too fast. In the secret realm, Lin Moyu had just received information from the Human Emperor Network. Sacred City Mission: explore the secret realm of the treasure ship. Enter the secret realm of the treasure ship and obtain talisman gold. Restrictions: you can enter from the 8th level of the Divine King to the 5th level of the Divine Lord. Completion conditions: obtain a piece of talisman gold, no quality requirements. Task reward: 100 points of Divine City merit will be awarded, and there will be no penalty for failure. Note: talisman gold may appear in any area in the secret realm. When the treasure ship appears, the secret realm is relatively safe, the quantity of talisman gold is relatively small, and the quality is relatively poor. When the treasure ship appears, the quantity and quality of talisman gold will increase, but please pay attention to the attack of the Black Beast. Under the God, if you encounter a Black Beast, please use the escape talisman to leave the secret realm immediately. Beyond the gods, you can try to kill the Black Beast and enter the treasure ship. If you fail, please don't force it. The reminder from Renhuang Network was very detailed. After reading it, Lin Moyu focused on the secret pressure. He had already read the information about the secret realm on the road. There are a total of 12 pieces of information about the treasure ship secret realm in the secret realm strategy group, which are very detailed. Lin Moyu knows every detail about the secret realm. Although the Black Beast that appeared together with the treasure ship was somewhat dangerous, its highest strength known so far was only the 5th level of a god, so it did not pose a threat to him. At present, no one has successfully entered the second stage of the secret realm, but the information in the strategy group has shown that the secret realm should have a second stage. Entering the second stage should be related to the treasure ship. Lin Moyu looked around, and in the next second, a large number of skeleton gods flew out in all directions. Since he entered the second level of the God Lord, the skeleton god will become stronger again. Normally, the skeleton god general should change from the 6th level to the 7th level. But it didn't happen this time. The skeleton god general was still the 6th level of god, but he had reached the peak of the 6th level, and was only half a step away from the 7th level. Lin Moyu guessed that it might be because of the existence of the power of rules. Although there is only one level difference between the 6th level and the 7th level of the God Lord, there is a huge gap in essence, as if they have crossed a big realm. Lin Moyu believes that as long as he reaches the 3rd level of the God Lord, the skeleton god general will naturally be able to cross this threshold. The skeleton god will explore the secret world on behalf of Lin Moyu, and will soon feed back a large amount of information, forming a map of the secret realm in his mind. There are grasslands, mountains, and forests in the secret realm, and there are large lakes between the mountains and forests. It looks like a paradise with birds singing and flowers fragrant. It seems that the ancient talisman that evolved this secret realm is also a gentle tongue benefit. Lin Moyu said to himself that after receiving the inheritance from the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, his understanding of the ancient talismans has far exceeded before. Ancient talismans also have completely different attributes. Some ancient talismans are born for fighting and are violent in nature. The world they evolved into is naturally very dangerous. Some ancient talismans are auxiliary ancient talismans with a mild nature, and the world they evolved into is naturally much safer. Lin Moyu felt the tranquility of the world, admired the scenery, and at the same time thought about the message left in the inheritance by the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord, why do you have to ask me to go to these places? Is there any reason? The reason why I came here is also because of the message left by the Holy Talisman Tianzuan in the inheritance. Saint Fu Tianzuan marked several locations and asked Lin Moyu to take a look. It might be helpful to Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu guessed whether the Holy Talisman Tianzuan left something behind. Those things may no longer be found in this world today. So Lin Moyu came, and the first choice was the treasure ship Secret Realm. The skeleton god general was very fast and found the boundary of the secret realm in just half an hour. The treasure ship secret space is not small, with a diameter of more than 300,000 kilometers, which is larger than a star. There are countless mountains, forests, lakes, and several prairie areas. There is also a desert in the center of the secret realm. During the exploration, the skeleton god general found 100 pieces of talisman gold. The talisman is about the size of a fist, exudes a faint golden light, and looks like copper or iron, but in fact it is more like a stone. The luster of the gold talismans found was not strong, so it was obviously not of high quality. In a secret realm comparable to stars, there are only 100 fist-sized talisman gold, which is indeed no different from finding a needle in a haystack. If it had been anyone else, it would have been really hard to find. Finding Fujin has completed the basic task assigned by the Human Emperor Network. For Lin Moyu, this is simply a piece of cake. Lin Moyu put the talisman away, and his eyes revealed his thoughts. The treasure ship does not appear every time. Sometimes it can be encountered every time, and sometimes it cannot be encountered even after entering and exiting 1,000 times. What are the conditions for the treasure ship to appear? Lin Moyu naturally came here for the treasure ship, and things like talisman gold were dispensable to him. The treasure ship did not appear, and Lin Moyu did not leave the secret realm. Through the previous information, he guessed that the appearance of the treasure ship should need to meet some specific conditions. He wandered in the secret realm, moving forward at a not-so-fast speed. While appreciating the secret realm, he also thought about what the conditions were. Gradually, he crossed the grassland, crossed the mountain forest, passed the lake, and entered the desert in the center of the secret realm. In this paradise-like place, the existence of the desert seems very abrupt. It should be here. Lin Moyu stood in the sky, looking down at the desert, his soul eyes slowly opened. After the soul reaches the holy realm, the eyes of the soul are strengthened again and can see more subtle things. In the eyes of others, the desert is just a desert, nothing surprising. The information from the Secret Realm strategy team also recorded that no abnormality occurred in the desert. There was even a god who directly lifted up the desert. The desert was like a bottomless pit and was not discovered. In Lin Moyu's eyes, this desert revealed its true form. This is no ordinary desert. Every grain of sand is made of ancient talisman fragments. These debris are densely packed and look no different from sand, but inside, they contain the power of gut. Lin Moyu has experienced many secret realms, and the ancient talisman fragments in many secret realms will evolve into terrifying talisman beasts. The same ancient talisman fragments only evolved into sand in the secret realm of the treasure ship. It can be seen that the ancient talisman that evolved this secret realm is very mild in nature. Not only gentle, but quite complete. Along the way, Lin Moyu saw the flowers, plants, and trees in the secret realm, and they all looked perfect. Unlike the secret realms I have seen before, they are more or less defective. The more perfect the secret realm evolves, the more complete the ancient talisman is. Likewise, it becomes increasingly difficult to clear this secret realm. The more perfect the ancient talisman is, the less it will break. Lin Moyu looked at the desert for a while, and through the context of the runes, combined with his own understanding of the runes, he already knew the conditions for the treasure ship to appear. The condition is the talisman gold he gets. Lin Moyu took out 10 pieces of talisman gold and threw it into the desert. At the same time, Lin Moyu paid attention to the changes in the mountains, forests, and lakes in the distance. Advertisement. After Fu Jin landed, the terrain of the mountain forest suddenly dropped a little, and the water level of the lake also dropped a little. The change is very slight, just a millimeter, and silent. If it weren't for Lin Moyu's extremely sensitive soul, he wouldn't have sensed it at all. Then Lin Moyu threw some more talisman gold. The more talisman gold he threw, the more the mountain forest terrain and lake water level dropped. After he took back the talisman gold, the terrain of the mountains and forests and the water level of the lakes improved again. Lin Moyu knew that his judgment was probably correct. In order to verify his judgment, he waited quietly for a while. A few hours later, he sensed that the terrain and the water level of the lake had increased at the same time. This change made Lin Moyu completely sure that his judgment was correct. In the past, all kinds of guesswork was required in the secret realm. This time it was not a guess, but a reasonable judgment based on my own understanding of the runes. A correct judgment is equivalent to the knowledge you have learned being confirmed, and it is still correct, and a sense of satisfaction arises spontaneously. As long as you get enough talisman gold, the water in the lake will continue to increase and eventually it will overflow. At that time, the mountains and forests are high enough, and the lake water will rush into the desert, turning the desert into an oasis, and treasure ships will appear. Based on the current situation, at least tens of thousands of talismans are needed to allow the lake water to irrigate the desert. With tens of thousands of talisman gold, even Lin Moyu would have to go in and out of the secret realm hundreds of times. Lin Moyu would not collect talismans so foolishly, he chose a simpler and more crude method. Purple gold light flashed all over his body, and thousands of houses were blasted out in an instant. Countless big fists shining with purple light appeared in the void, some struck in the mountains and forests, and some struck in the lakes. The mountain forest was flattened and collapsed. The water in the lake exploded into the sky, and gaps appeared in the lake. The lake water began to surge out, rushing towards the desert along the road that Lin Moyu had punched with his fist. If the terrain is not high enough and the lake water has not overflowed, then artificially blast the lake water out to create an oasis artificially. Advertisement. According to Lin Moyu's judgment, his approach should be useful. Lake water pours into the desert from all directions, and the desert gradually becomes moist. Slowly, the lake covered the entire desert, and the desert disappeared and turned into an oasis. Lin Moyu suddenly discovered that this secret realm had become complete. The previous desert was like a wound in this world, incompatible with the beautiful world. Now it has become an oasis, and Lin Moyu suddenly discovered that this world has become a real paradise. The lake water has not yet drained away. Lin Moyu's attack was heavy enough, and the amount of lake water flowing over was staggering. A whirlpool appeared in the center of the oasis. The whirlpool turned faster and faster. A fountain rushed out of the whirlpool, shooting straight into the sky like a sharp arrow. Immediately afterwards, a treasure ship rushed out of the whirlpool and flew into the sky. A large amount of talisman gold rushed out with the treasure ship. The talisman gold rushed in all directions and disappeared among the mountains and forests. There are a lot of talisman gold, and each piece is of good quality, better than those obtained by Lin Moyu. The eruption of talisman gold will last for a while, and the quality will become worse as time goes by, and the quantity will gradually decrease. Lin Moyu discovered that some of the talismans disappeared after landing, and he didn't know where they went. The amount of talisman gold that will be left in the secret realm is actually only a few thousand pieces. I should be going to someone else's secret place. The treasure ship appears, the talisman gold erupts, and everyone who enters the secret realm can benefit. And the treasure ship will not just stay in its own secret realm, it will wander in various secret realms and then disappear again. When the treasure ship wanders, it will bring black beasts, and the black beasts will hunt down the cultivators in the secret realm. The black beast is incompatible with the gentleness of this ancient talisman. Lin Moyu had doubts before, but now he understands the origin of the black beast when he sees it with his own eyes. On the treasure ship, there is a gap. A mass of black energy was wrapped around the gap, and bloodlines emerged from the black energy. With the power from the Black Blood realm, the treasure ship was still damaged in that war. Advertisement. The strong man from the Black Blood world made a hole in the treasure ship, and his power has not dispersed for many years, and has been entangled in the treasure ship. In addition to the power of the Black Blood realm, ancient talisman fragments continue to fall in the gap. These ancient talisman fragments are sand. It is also because of this gap that the entire secret realm has not evolved perfectly. The eruption of Fujin gradually came to an end, and the treasure ship began to move. The black air mass on the gap expanded rapidly, turning into ferocious black beasts in the air, rushing towards Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu didn't pay attention to these black beasts at all. The skeleton god general flew out and attacked them. The white sword energy swept across the secret realm, and the flying black beast was killed instantly. The strength of the black beast is only the 5th level of the god, which is much weaker than the god general. After slaying the black beast, the skeleton god will take the lead in attacking the treasure ship. The treasure ship suddenly burst into bright light, and countless runes appeared on the ship's body. The runes formed a talisman array, and the skeleton gods collided with the talisman array, and were shot one after another. The treasure ship's talisman array is a bit strong, and there is no way to penetrate it with just the skeleton god general. Moreover, the talisman array connects the entire treasure ship. If it is forcibly destroyed, the treasure ship may also be damaged. Moreover, Lin Moyu felt that with the methods of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, there might be other arrangements inside. If he were to force his way in, it would cause a chain reaction. After watching for a while, Lin Moyu had found a way to get in. The soul senses the vibration frequency of the talisman array. Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord's methods are superb. The entire talisman array and a large number of runes have almost the same vibration frequency. He accurately grasped the frequency of the talisman array and at the same time adjusted the vibration frequency of his soul. The soul enveloped the whole body like running water and vibrated like a talisman array. Then Lin Moyu stepped forward, and the next moment he broke through the talisman formation blockade and appeared on the treasure ship. For others, a treasure ship that is inaccessible is as simple as returning home to Lin Moyu. The next second, Lin Moyu came to the gap where the black energy was entangled. Let's take care of you first. Black beasts transformed and rushed towards Lin Moyu. The power from the Black Blood world is extremely cruel and treats all creatures in the world as enemies. The skeleton god will appear, wield the bone sword, and kill all the black beasts. While inside the treasure ship, the skeleton god general did not use his sword energy to avoid destroying the treasure ship. Lin Moyu came to the critical gap, and the law of immortality surged out. The power of Grey Death is like a big hand, covering the gap and corroding the black air. The power of death corrodes all things, even the power from the Black Blood world will be corroded. Lin Moyu stepped into the divine realm. His strength is now beyond what it used to be, and his control over the laws has reached perfection. The corrosive power of the law has increased significantly compared to the past. Bloodlines continue to emerge, and the whole mass of black energy struggled like crazy. The struggle of the rootless source is meaningless, and it will be corroded in a short time. Facing the power from the Black Blood world again, Lin Moyu already has some experience. The Black Blood realm is not as powerful as imagined. This power comes from an existence comparable to the Heavenly Lord. It is still not weak after millions of years, but it can still be wiped out by my power. To put it this way, in fact, the Black Blood realm back then was at most the same as the big world. That's why they used some special methods to encourage various ethnic groups to rebel. Otherwise, we should have won the war that year. Lin Moyu thought of the strong men in the Black Blood world, controlling the starry beasts in the dark void. They seemed to have a special ability. The power of the Black Blood realm was wiped away, the runes around the gap in the treasure ship began to sparkle, and the gap began to repair itself. The repair speed is not very fast, and it is estimated that it will take several years to complete the repair. Lin Moyu turned around and walked towards the inside of the treasure ship. The treasure ship was not big, only 100 meters long, and its internal structure was extremely simple. With the size of the ancient talisman warrior, the treasure ship is as small as dust. Advertisement. But among the entire ancient talisman warriors, the role of the treasure ship is extraordinary. Lin Moyu can probably understand what the Holy Talisman Emperor does. The treasure ship is responsible for providing spare runes and repairing damaged locations, so its own safety is very important. If the treasure ship is too big, the target will be obvious. But if it is too small, even if the space runes are used, there will be not enough runes. In battle, the amount of runes consumed is quite astonishing. Space runes must be used, and even space arrays will be used. Lin Moyu guessed that there should be a huge space inside the treasure ship. He walked into the cabin, and his eyes suddenly opened up. Lin Moyu entered a vast space. How big this space is, Lin Moyu's eyesight can't forget it at a glance. Guessed it right. I'm afraid this space can accommodate a star. Holy Talisman Tianzuan is really a generous artist. How many articles can be stored in such a large space? There is still a strong aura of ancient talismans in the space. It is conceivable that a large number of ancient talismans should have been stored here. Unfortunately, during the battle, these ancient talismans were exhausted. The battle between the ancient talisman warriors and the powerful men from the Black Blood realm was earth-shattering, covering the entire Divine City star field. Thousands of galaxies were completely destroyed, and it was extremely fierce. Lin Moyu felt the aura left over from ancient times, as if he could see the battle that year. He walked through the space, looking for anything left behind. The whole space was very empty, as if there was nothing left. Why did the Holy Talisman Tianzuan ask me to come here? Judging from the inheritance, he should have left something behind, but he didn't have it when he came back here. Lin Moyu speculated whether it would be placed elsewhere. After all, there are still some areas of the treasure ship that have not been searched yet. After walking around and finding nothing, Lin Moyu left here. Advertisement. Return to the treasure ship and search the remaining areas. After searching around, nothing was found. The structure of the treasure ship is too simple. Except for that special space, other places are almost visible at a glance. Finally, he returned to the cabin and entered the huge space expanded by the array. Lin Moyu stopped and said, if it is something left by Tianzuan, it will naturally not be discovered easily. What if it's not me who comes in, but another race? Lin Moyu's thoughts were like lightning. He put himself in his shoes and thought about what he would do if he were Tianzuan. The eyes of the soul opened again, scanning the space. Surrounded by a large number of runes, these runes were beating rapidly and shining brightly. Lin Moyu knew all these runes. They were basically space runes, and were combined with some other runes to form a complex and powerful rune array. Lin Moyu was absorbed by the talisman array for a moment, staring at the talisman array without blinking, and began to study it. This is a talisman formation from Tianzuan. It has great research value. If you can learn the key points, it will be of great benefit to you. Lin Moyu realized that even if it was just this talisman array, the trip would be worthwhile. The treasure ship flew slowly in the secret realm. It passed through each secret realm, and each secret realm had different practitioners. Some people tried to get close to the treasure ship, but they were blocked. When someone saw the treasure ship, they immediately thought of the Black Beast and immediately prepared for battle. But in the end, the Black Beast did not appear, which was extremely confusing. No one knows that there is a passenger in the treasure ship who is working hard to learn the talisman array left by the Holy Talisman Tianzuan. While studying the runes, Lin Moyu continued to have insights and gained a deeper understanding of the use of runes. Saint Fu Tianzuan was the #1 rune person of that era, and his understanding of runes was far beyond what Saint Fu Tianzuan could compare to. Just being limited to the realm is not enough, and it cannot involve ancient symbols. The mystery of the entire talisman formation was something Lin Moyu had never seen before in his life. In comparison, the human race's space-expanding formations are simply at the level of children. Advertisement. Could it be that Tianzuan asked me to come here just to learn the talisman formation? He used this method to demonstrate the talisman to the inheritor? Lin Moyu came up with this idea, but it felt wrong. If that's all, just say it straight away, why bother covering it up? It shouldn't be just this, Yin Zun must have other arrangements. Lin Moyu has dealt with Holy Talisman 930 Tianzuan, and he can probably guess that this Tianzuan will not be so simple. Since he was able to enter the Yunwu sect after Huanwu Tianzuan left, leaving his inheritance in the pearl. Not only did Huanwu Tianzuan get involved, but it also made it difficult for the inheritance of Yunwu sect to be truly passed down. Not many people can accept two inheritances from the Heavenly Lord. Even the Holy Lord's soul may not be able to sustain it. Both Huanwu Tianzuan and Qingfu Tianzuan have their own selfish motives. It can also be seen from this point that Xingzai Tianzuan has an extremely weird temper. Lin Moyu speculated that if the inheritance of the Yunwu sect cannot be truly passed down, the Holy Talisman Tianzuan will have a backup plan to arrange the inheritance in other places. Tianzuan also doesn't want his inheritance to be cut off. Maybe this idea is not necessarily correct, but it is not bad at all. Studying the talisman array, his mastery of the talisman array became deeper and deeper. Gradually, Lin Moyu made new discoveries. He discovered that there was actually a talisman array hidden in this talisman array that expanded the space. This talisman array once again split the space, forming an independent space. There is another dimension within the space, which is somewhat similar to Lilian's inheritance. Fortunately, I had an experience before, otherwise it would not be easy to find. Lin Moyu came to the center of the space, locked an area in the talisman array, and drew a three-dimensional space text. Go! The runes flew into the sky and filled in the runes. In an instant, the entire formation roared and shook. The runes drawn by Lin Moyu became the key to the second dimension. The space vibrated and roared, and the second dimension was revealed. The entrance to this space was like a whirlpool, rotating slowly. Lin Moyu stepped into it with a smile on his face. Being able to open the second level of space means that he has basically mastered this space array. As long as it takes a certain amount of time, Lin Moyu can also arrange similar talisman arrays by himself. Maybe it's a little worse than Tianzuan, but it can definitely beat the various space expansion formations used by the human race today. In this way, there is a faint sense of accomplishment growing in my heart. Holy Talisman Tianzuan uses this method to teach his descendants how to arrange the talisman array. There are thousands of techniques for talisman formations, but they never deviate from their origins, and they are all the same in the end. As long as the research is thorough enough, one method can be applied to all methods. The second level space is established based on the first level space, and is much smaller in terms of stability and scale. Lin Moyu stands inside and can see all the way to the end. There is only one item in the space and nothing else. When Lin Moyu saw this item, his eyes narrowed unconsciously. He has seen this thing before. In the extraterrestrial Soul Clan battleship, Lin Moyu once got an identical box. The appearance of the box is the same as that of 703, but I don't know whether the contents inside are the same. Lin Moyu did not go over immediately, but stared at the box. The boxes are the same. The fact that a box made of this kind of material can be used means that the contents inside are also very heavy. But the runes outside the box are different, and the way to open them should also be different. The box contained the godly stone of rules before. What is it this time? Advertisement. While Lin Moyu was thinking, the box suddenly burst into light, and the Holy Land Heavenly Lord appeared in the light. This time it's not a remnant soul, it's just a projection. It should be some information that the Holy Talisman Tianzuan once recorded. My descendant, congratulations on getting the treasure left by me. Being able to come here means that you have understood the secret of the talisman array, and you are qualified to obtain information about the next treasure location. To be able to obtain the inheritance of this deity, you should be a very lucky person. You can be regarded as a genius. Your era is very sad, but even if you are a coward, it is not without hope. The coward has escaped, and I am going to chase him and leave. I hope the contents inside are of some use to you. As for the way to open it, you will naturally understand it after you learn the inheritance of this deity. Before I say goodbye, I have one more thing to warn you, Day. There are too many causes and effects in the world. If you want to seize the chance of life, you must cut off the cause and effect. Cause and effect are constant, and there is no hope in the world. As soon as the words fell, the projection disappeared immediately. When Holy Talisman Tianzuan spoke, it was a bit joking at first, but it became extremely serious in the next two sentences. When Holy Talisman Tianzuan left, a stream of information flowed in, indicating the next location. This reminded Lin Moyu of Lilian's starry sky spirit tribe, and it seemed to be the same. Lin Moyu thought that maybe Tianzuan was strange. Lin Moyu also felt nervous when he heard it, cause and effect, it's because of cause and effect. He murmured to himself, recalling the words left by Holy Talisman Tianzuan. The big world is riddled with cause and effect, which ultimately leads to the current ending. We need to cut off the cause and effect, but how to cut off the cause and effect? Lin Moyu's understanding of cause and effect is too shallow, and he can only act based on his own feelings, which may not be correct. Cut off cause and effect. He chewed the four words over and over again, and a method to cut off the cause and effect came to his mind. Advertisement. That means killing all the foreigners, leaving no one alive. When a person dies and the lamp is extinguished, and when aliens die, wouldn't the cause and effect be cut off? Lin Moyu felt a sudden realization, and his eyes sparkled. It should be right. The strong men in the big world back then, when they were plundering the origins of all walks of life, kindly provided living places for alien races from all walks of life. This also makes the cause and effect continue, and more causes and effects are entangled in the world, eventually causing disaster. Perhaps Huanwu Tianzuan figured it out at the last moment, but it was already too late. These words of Holy Talisman Tianzuan should not be said by him, but by Huanwu Tianzuan. He said he was going to chase Huanwu Tianzuan, but he was actually just looking for an excuse to leave. Why? Lin Moyu's mind was like lightning. He quickly sorted out his thoughts and understood the causes and consequences. The cause and effect is very strange, just like the layers of space. Each race has its own cause and effect, and each creature also has its own cause and effect. However, outside the big world, there seems to be even greater cause and effect, and this layer of cause and effect affects the entire world. Both Huanwu Tianzuan and Holy Talisman Tianzuan escaped and left the big world. They went to a wider world, and Lin Moyu had a feeling that these deities who escaped from the big world became homeless wanderers. When the big world completely collapses, their hometown will also be gone. For some reason, Lin Moyu feels that these deities are pitiful and pathetic. When a person no longer even owns his hometown, what can he leave behind? Lin Moyu never wanted to escape. No matter what the reason, he would not escape. This emotion is very strange, and Lin Moyu himself can't explain it, but it just pops up, takes root quickly, and becomes deeply ingrained in an instant. There is only one way before Lin Moyu, to rebuild the divine road and repair the big world. Either perish with the big world, or be reborn with the big world. I went over and picked up the box. There were runes flowing on the box. These runes are different from the previous box, and the way to open it is completely different. He can still give the box to Fu Xingzuan and let him crack it. Advertisement. But Lin Moyu plans to do it himself this time, which is also a test for himself. Put away the box and return to the deck of the treasure ship. At this moment, the treasure ship has returned to the secret realm where it was, back to the desert. The oases disappeared and the desert reappeared. But the moisture in the air is still there, and there seems to be some water flowing under the desert. The secret realm is like this, it keeps repeating itself in the process of evolution until it evolves to perfection. The treasure ship stayed on the desert for a moment, and then rushed towards the desert. The treasure ship was so fast that it crashed into the desert, causing the sky to be filled with yellow sand. The treasure ship was speeding through the yellow sand. The runes on the ship sparkled, keeping all the sand out. The connection with the Renhuang network was rapidly weakening. Within 2 seconds, the connection with the Renhuang network was completely lost. This time Renhuang network did not give out any information, perhaps because it was too late. Lin Moyu stood on the treasure ship with an unchanged expression and no panic. He knew that the treasure ship was about to take him into the second level of the secret realm. No one knows what the situation will be like on the second level of the treasure ship secret realm. He will be the first among the human race to enter. After flying in the yellow sand world for a long time, light appeared in his eyes, and the treasure ship rushed out from the other end. The red and black light beating in the sky is the power from the dark world, raging here. The power of the black blood world transformed into countless black beasts, while the power of the runes transformed into rune battles. The black beast and the rune warriors were fighting together. This battle had lasted for who knows how many years, and it seemed that it had never stopped. Is this phase 2? Lin Moyu said to himself, the second stage is not the same as what he thought. This rune is so gentle, I never imagined that the second stage would turn out to be a battlefield. Suddenly, Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes and looked into the distance. From the distance, a warrior in black with a sword in his hand was flying quickly. Lin Moyu narrowed his eyes slightly. He had seen this person before. The black-blooded great swordsman who once fought against the ancient talisman warrior was comparable to a terrifying and powerful man in the heavenly realm. Of course it won't be him himself, but it will be transformed by his power. It rushed in front of the treasure ship and drew its sharp sword. The treasure ship shimmered and the formation emerged, not only blocking his attack, but the treasure ship also suddenly accelerated, knocking it away. Obviously, Bao Chuan and the other party have been fighting for many years. Both sides have no consciousness, and they are fighting instinctively with the remaining will of their masters. Lin Moyu took a look and found that the opponent's combat power should be between the 8th and 9th levels of the deity. The treasure ship's formation defense is also at the peak of the God Sovereign, and there is no problem in blocking the opponent. However, the treasure ship has defensive capabilities but no offensive capabilities, so there is nothing the other side can do. One attacked and the other defended, and the two sides remained in a stalemate for countless years. But now that Lin Moyu is here, this stalemate has come to an end. Destroy it. Lin Moyu's heart moved, the immortal flames burned in the air, the skeleton throne emerged, and the skeleton king slowly stood up. The cloak composed of immortal flames buzzed behind him, and the power of rules was wrapped around his body. After Lin Moyu was promoted to the second level of the Divine Lord, the skeleton king became stronger, but it did not cross the boundary between the Divine Lord and the other side. The skeleton king is still the peak god, but among the peak gods, he is absolutely strong. The skeleton king at this moment is somewhat similar to Zhu Qiwu, who was on the battlefield before. It is much stronger than the ordinary 9th level gods, but still not as good as the other side. Shinzuan and the other shore are a qualitative change that is not easy to overcome. The skeleton king locked onto the swordsman in black and swung the huge bone sword. Kill the god. The starting point is the signature technique, God-severing sword. The swordsman in black exploded on the spot with his god-slaying sword, but he did not die. Countless black energy dissipated and gathered together again not far away, and the swordsman in black appeared again. Its aura did not change at all, and Skeleton King's attacks were ineffective against it. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and with the blessing of laws, a large number of immortal laws suddenly appeared on the Skeleton King's sword. The rich law of immortality wrapped the entire bone sword, and the originally white bone sword turned gray. The Skeleton King wields his bone sword, and Saint Bar is the swordsman in black. The 10,000-meter-tall Skeleton King swept over with his sword, and his power was extremely astonishing. It was as if a mountain was falling and the ground was cracking, and the whole secret realm was trembling. The swordsman in black could not resist the explosion on the spot, and the black energy gathered again not far away, but this time Lin Moyu felt that it had become weaker. The law of immortality corrodes part of the power of the Black Blood realm, causing it to be truly harmed. The Skeleton King swung out his sword, and the black-clothed swordsman was repeatedly blasted into pieces. Each time he was reborn, he was weaker than the previous one. Lin Moyu's heart moved, and a large number of skeleton god generals flew out, bringing the Holy Spirit to the dark side. Blessed by the same law, the sword is also covered with the law of immortality. Just a few minutes later, the black beast in the secret realm was dead, and the black-clothed swordsman was completely shattered, unable to condense into shape again. Without the power of the Black Blood realm, the whole secret process was much cleaner. Countless warriors transformed by runes turned into runes again, flew into the sky, and merged into the void. Lin Moyu felt a quiet atmosphere again, and the runes that evolved the secret realm of the treasure ship seemed to be so quiet in the first place. It fights and boasts only when it has no choice. The treasure ship carried Lin Moyu to the depths of the secret realm. It was windy and sunny along the way. The secret realm evolved perfectly, and even stars evolved. Lin Moyu feels that if the secret realm is given a little more time, maybe a small world can be formed here. The vast ocean appears in sight, with rippling blue waves, the sound of water, and rolling waves. The treasure ship gradually fell, plunged into the water again, and flew towards the depths of the ocean. There was no life in the entire ocean, and it was very quiet. The light gradually disappeared, and only the treasure ship was still shining, becoming the only source of light. After sailing in the water for a long time, a stone monument appeared in sight. Ancient Talisman Steel. Lin Moyu saw the stone tablet and knew he had arrived at his destination. The treasure ship stopped next to the Ancient Talisman Stone Tablet. Lin Moyu looked at the Ancient Talisman Stone Tablet. An ancient talisman was engraved on the stone tablet like dragons and phoenixes. After just one glance, he was sure that this ancient talisman was written by the Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord and was exactly the same as the ancient talismans in the inner space of the treasure ship. Every time there is a secret, there will be a stone monument like this at the end. 1. This stone tablet should be a material that carries runes in ancient times, but in today's era, it seems that this material cannot be found. The ancient talisman warrior of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord uses countless stone tablets inside to form the main structure. Lin Moyu thought in his heart and drew a story in his hand. This rune comes from the inheritance of Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord. It is an advanced rune created by Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord himself. Its only function is to put its own brand on the rune magic weapon, which is easier to use than using soul branding. Holy Talisman Tianzuan calls it the branding talisman. Please give me flowers. Lin Moyu will draw the branding talisman and drop it on the treasure ship. The treasure ship has become ownerless. When the ancient talisman warrior collapsed, Holy Talisman Heavenly Lord came here and entered the treasure ship when he left, leaving the box behind. At the same time, he also removed his mark on the treasure ship. After millions of years, Lin Moyu once again used the branding talisman to find a new owner for the treasure ship. After the branding talisman was finished, the treasure ship successfully completed the identification of its owner, and Lin Moyu waved it away. Then Lin Moyu began to really look at the ancient talisman stone tablet. The ancient talisman on the ancient talisman stone tablet was extremely mysterious. When Lin Moyu looked at it, his soul power was consumed rapidly. The feeling from before came back again, and Lin Moyu knew that his realm was still not enough, and he was still not at the point where he could face the tongue talisman. But it's much better than before. Lin Moyu didn't understand it before, but now he knows that Gut also thinks based on the power of rules. As long as you reach a high-level god and have a trace of the power of rules, you can face the ancient talisman. When the time comes, the ancient symbols you draw will also be integrated into the power of the rules, and their power will be greatly increased. Since you can't watch it, then don't watch it. Lin Moyu won't force it. He stretched out his hand and pressed it on the stone tablet, touching the ancient talisman. There was a roar in his mind, the ancient talisman evolved, and a warrior appeared in the soul world. This is the test one needs to go through to obtain the ancient talisman, even for the gentle Gyud. Soul raised his hand, and the soul-killing sword flew like lightning, instantly piercing the warrior's body. The soul power exploded, and the warrior's body was blown into pieces. Lin Moyu's soul is too strong, and even a mere ancient talisman test will not be taken seriously by him at all. The soul-killing sword easily strangled the warrior who had evolved from the ancient talisman. The scene in front of him changed, and Lin Moyu was recognized by the ancient talisman. The breath of the human emperor network came, and then a big hand fell from the sea, went deep into the seabed, and grabbed the ancient talisman stone tablet. The big hand from the human emperor network grabbed the stone tablet and flew out of the secret realm, and an exit appeared in front of Lin Moyu. Another secret realm has been cleared. I robbed you of your ancient talisman several times before, but this time I finally gave you one back. Lin Moyu thought about how the human emperor network had failed in the past few times. This time, they finally obtained a new ancient talisman, and it was of extremely complete quality. Lin Moyu felt this peaceful world again, smiled and shook his head. This kind of world doesn't belong to me yet. With a hint of helplessness, I stepped into the exit and left the secret realm. Outside the secret realm of the treasure ship, cultivators appeared out of thin air one by one. What's going on? Why did I come out suddenly? I've obviously seen a piece of talisman gold, and I'm about to get it. Why did it come out? It's really strange. We all came out suddenly. Could it be that something happened in the secret realm? These cultivators were suddenly thrown out of the secret realm, and each of them looked puzzled. Someone frowned and said, "Where have I heard of this kind of thing?" At this time, Lin Moyu was also teleported out of the secret realm. He did not stay. The laws of space were operating, and he had already traveled 30 million kilometers with one step. After taking another step, he completely disappeared. Lin Moyu suddenly appeared and disappeared instantly. Although he was very fast, he was still captured. That person came out too. That person? Which person? It's the person who suddenly appeared a few days ago and entered the secret realm. He speaks so fast, 870. Yes, is this really the speed that a god can achieve? Just now my eyes were dazzled, and he was gone. Amid the discussion, the person who had just been thrown out of the secret realm also received a message from the Human Emperor Network. Your mission has been completed, and you will be rewarded with 100 points of Divine City merit. Your mission has been completed, and you will be rewarded with 100 points of Divine City merit. Regardless of whether they have completed their mission or not, Renhuang Network believes that they have completed their mission. At this time, someone suddenly shouted, "I know what's going on. Someone has cleared the secret realm. Someone must have cleared the secret realm. Everyone, hurry up and read the announcement of the Divine City." As he shouted, everyone present contacted the Renhuang Network to check the announcement. Advertisement. Sure enough, a brilliant announcement appeared on the Human Emperor Network. Announcement from Divine City. Intermediate personnel Lin Moyu has successfully cleared the secret realm of the Galaxy treasure ship Zhong 26999. This secret realm will be completely closed from now on, and related tasks will also be cancelled. After seeing the announcement, everyone was shocked. It's Lin Moyu again. He's starting to clear the secret realm again. Hasn't it been a long time since he entered the secret realm? I thought he had already washed his hands of trouble. Maybe he went to retreat to practice. My dear, you cleared a secret realm with just one move. You are worthy of being a top genius. As soon as the Divine City announcement came out, not only were they shocked, but the entire Divine City Star territory was also shocked. Lin Moyu, who had been silent for many years, started to clear the secret realm again. Many people have begun to predict how many secret realms Lin Moyu will clear next. Will he go to those difficult secret realms? There is also speculation about how long it will take Lin Moyu to become a senior staff member. Everything about Lin Moyu seems to be curious. Divine City Star Territory, Outer Area. The tall Chu Xiong side, is the gap between us and Brother Lin already so big? Zhuang Bai was drinking tea at the side. It's normal. Brother Lin is an extraordinary human being and cannot be compared to me. Chu Xiong snorted. I think you fell into the land of gentleness and have long forgotten your ambitions. Zhuang Bai chuckled lightly. How can I have any great ambition to become a god? It shouldn't be too long before I can enter the god city. I have already entered. Then we will practice step by step. With our talents and resources, it is not difficult for us to become a high-level god. As for getting higher, it depends on chance. We cannot force it. Chu Xiong didn't quite agree with Zhuang Bai's words. You have to fight for the opportunities you have. Advertisement. Zhuang Bai shook his head. Forcing too much will be counterproductive and may even cost you your life. Sometimes, it's best to just let things take their own course. Chu Xiong still disagreed with Zhuang Bai's statement. We'll see if you can still be tough when Miss Qing Fei comes back. Zhuang Bai chuckled. Okay, then I'll tell Sister Jilan that you want to go out and take risks. Chu Xiong's face changed drastically. You are spreading rumors. Zhuang Bai smiled and said, half and half, you do have this idea. You. He was not as quarrelsome as Zhuang Bai, and finally said helplessly, I don't know when I can see Brother Lin again. Zhuang Bai said, why don't you just send him a message? If you want to see him, with the kind of person Mr. Lin is, he will definitely come. Chu Xiong shook his head. I'm not smart, but I'm not stupid. Brother Lin has his own business, don't disturb him. Divine City, Central Temple, Fu Xingzuan's face is filled with joy at this moment. The ancient talisman I got this time is very good, with more than 90% completeness. This ancient talisman may not seem important, but it is a very important part of the puppets in ancient times. It can be said to be the hub of many tongue talismans. When I understand this ancient talisman, maybe I can try to make some ancient talisman puppets. Tian Xingzuan smiled and said, it seems that Lin Xiaoyu has made meritorious deeds again. Xingzuan Fu nodded. The treasure ship Secret Realm has existed for countless years, and no one has ever been able to pass it. Only Xiaoyu Lin can do it. He is indeed a genius in this world. Tian Xingzuan asked, when do you plan to pass on the runes that little friend Lin passed on to you before? Fu Xingzuan said, I have mastered all those runes and will be able to pass them on in a few days. However, I have thought of a way. We think we should build more faith towers for little friend Lin. Tian Xingzuan said, you have to say, I have already given instructions on this matter. This time, I obtained 100 galaxies from the 3 tribes, and gave them all to Lin Xiaoyu to gather the power of faith for him. The two discussed how to reward Lin Moyu. They also knew that when it came to Lin Moyu, ordinary rewards were useless. The power of belief, as one of the fundamental forces of the human race, plays a great role no matter what realm it reaches. So after discussion, the two decided to use the power of faith as a reward, which should be the most useful to Lin Moyu. Advertisement. As for the merits of the Divine City, Lin Moyu no longer attaches much importance to it. On the surface, he is only a mid-level staff member, but in fact, senior staff members do not have as much authority as him. Lin Moyu, who was far away from the secret realm of the treasure ship, had just taken out his battleship when he suddenly received a message from the Human Emperor Network. Congratulations on completing the first phase of the treasure ship secret realm mission, and you will be rewarded with 100 points of Divine City merit. Congratulations on clearing the treasure ship secret realm, you will be rewarded with 5,000 points of Divine City merit. After receiving the message, Lin Moyu showed no expression. Controlling the battleship to enter deep space and fly towards the next target, he also took out a piece of talisman gold obtained from the secret realm of the treasure ship. When Fu Jin erupted before, Lin Moyu also took the opportunity to get some. This piece of talisman gold is of high quality and is of the highest quality. If it were sold, it would be worth at least 1,000 Divine City merits. After the treasure ship secret realm is cleared, it will be permanently closed, but it will not disappear. The treasure ship secret realm still exists, but it has been changed to another place. It is still controlled by the human race in 3.2. Talisman gold can also continue to be produced, and the output may be greater than before. The talisman gold produced in the future will be sold through the human race's exchange. If the talisman masters need it, they can go to the exchange to buy it. Clearing the secret realm has only advantages and no disadvantages for the human race. Lin Moyu turned the power of his soul into flames to refine the talisman gold. The purple flame burned blazingly, and the talisman gold quickly softened in the flames. Countless impurities were refined, and the purity of the talisman gold was further improved. A piece of talisman gold was divided into 10 pieces by Lin Moyu and turned into 10 thin small tokens. Then Lin Moyu began to draw the runes. He wanted to draw the light-retaining rune and the leaping-in-the-air rune, and then merge them again to form the 3-light rune. Lin Moyu has drawn these 2 kinds of runes countless times and is very good at them. The 2 runes were quickly drawn and then quickly merged. The whole process was smooth, without any sloppiness. In just 10 minutes, a brand new 3-light talisman was created. After the runes are successfully drawn, they must either be used directly or continue to provide power, otherwise the runes will not exist for too long. Like the golden armor talisman array created by Lin Moyu, the world tree continuously provides power to allow it to continue to operate. In many talisman arrays, there are either corresponding items that can continuously provide energy, or the talisman array itself can continuously absorb energy from the outside world. Many talisman formations in the human race also do this, but a single rune cannot. In addition, there is another method, which is to make runes into rune cards. Using suitable materials, once the rune plaques are made, they can be stored for a long time. The specific storage time depends on the grade of the material. Materials of different grades have different retention times. Talisman gold is the best material for making rune cards. Lin Moyu put the 3-light talisman into the talisman gold and used soul power to blend the 2 to create a 3-light rune card. However, this kind of rune card can only be used once, which is not what Lin Moyu wants. Lin Moyu continued to use 23 of his soul power to draw formations on the rune cards. The function of the formation is to continuously absorb energy from the outside world and then send it into the 3-light talisman. After each use, you only need to wait for a period of time before the 3-light talisman can be used again. Its function is the same as the ancient talisman jade card in Lin Moyu's hand. The ancient talisman inside can be used repeatedly with one punch. Soon, a 3-light rune card that could be used repeatedly was created. Lin Moyu looked at his rune card and was very satisfied. It can be used approximately once every 10 days, and each time lasts for 10 minutes. It has 3 times the time and 3 times the speed, which is equivalent to 9 times the speed bonus. It's a pity that the cooldown time is too long and it is not practical enough. It is only better than nothing. Although the rune cards produced are not very useful, Lin Moyu is very satisfied with his work. The key is not the use, but the understanding of the runes and whether they can be produced. Advertisement. He can make 3-light rune cards, and he can also make other rune cards, which represents his ability. Making rune cards is something that many rune masters do. The created rune cards can be sold in exchange for divine city merit or points, and they are also a verification of one's own rune skills. Lin Moyu put away the 3-light rune card, did not continue to make it, and then took out the treasure ship. The treasure ship that had been put away lay quietly in the palm of the hand, looking very delicate. It can be seen that the gap above is slowly recovering. Without external support, it will take several years to fully recover. Lin Moyu wanted to repair it, but was powerless. The runes on the treasure ship are of a very high level, including both high-level runes and a large number of ancient runes. Lin Moyu has not yet reached this level. However, the main function of the treasure ship is still available, and its function is to store runes. In ancient times, magic weapons like treasure ships used to store runes were called futsam, which means rune warehouse. Talisman masters back then would store a large number of runes in it and use them when needed, just like practitioners using magic weapons. Unfortunately, the method of producing conformity has now failed. In the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, there is indeed a method of making talisman song, but Lin Moyu has not yet come into contact with it. Lin Moyu once again drew and fused a 3-light talisman, and then sent it to the treasure ship. The treasure ship's light flashed, and a gaze sign immediately appeared in its independent space. The 3-light talisman hangs in the space like stars, shining brightly. Lin Moyu can feel that there is a talisman array operating in the treasure ship, providing energy for the 3-light talisman, allowing it to exist for a long time. If you need the 3-light talisman, you can take it out with just a thought. Lin Moyu tried it, and the 3-light talisman instantly appeared on his fingertips, which was very convenient. Advertisement. It is more convenient to use than rune cards. It's really good stuff. With the Talisman Warehouse, the Talisman Master's combat power will be greatly improved. In the general knowledge of the human race, most people know that Talisman Masters are very powerful and they are indispensable everywhere. But Talisman Masters are like alchemists and weapon refiners. Although they are important, their combat power is generally not strong. It's not that there are no powerful Talisman Masters, but there are very few. If there is a Talisman Warehouse, then the Talisman Master's combat power will become extremely amazing. Throw out a large number of runes, and there won't be many that can be placed in the same situation. Even if they are not invincible, Talisman Masters can still be ranked at the forefront. After confirming the role of the treasure ship, Lin Moyu worked non-stop to draw the runes. Runes were drawn one by one, and there were more and more runes in the treasure ship warehouse. Lin Moyu is single-minded and only draws the 3-light talisman and does nothing else. It's getting smoother and faster. Gradually, Lin Moyu began to use his left and right hands at the same time to draw 2 pieces at the same time. Lin Moyu has used it for a long time, and even tried multitasking. Among today's Talisman Masters, it is no longer possible to do 2 things at once, and it is even more legendary to do 3 things at once. But Lin Moyu knew that it was common for ancient Talisman Masters to do 2 things at once, and it was not uncommon for them to do 3 things at once. In the inheritance of Holy Talisman Tianzuan, the real limit is to use one mind for 5 purposes, without using any hands, just use the soul power, divide it into 5 parts, and draw the runes at the same time. Holy Talisman Tianzuan had reached this level back then. Advertisement. However, Holy Talisman Tianzuan also had his own guess. He judged that there was no upper limit for multiple uses. The real end of the runes is not multitasking, but one thought. When one thought arises, thousands of talismans emerge. With just one thought, 7.77 million runes appeared. But this is just a fantasy and almost impossible to achieve. By the time the battleship stopped, Lin Moyu had already stuffed 100 3-light talismans into the treasure ship. In the originally empty and silent space, there were hundreds of light spots. Hundreds of light spots focused together to form a small starry sky. Almost. Lin Moyu stopped drawing runes. The 3-light talisman has been completely mastered. If you want to improve it later, you need to improve your understanding of the runes and laws. The battleship had stopped. Lin Moyu checked the star map and found that he was still about 100 million kilometers away from his destination. The navigation speed in deep space is indeed very fast, but the disadvantage is that the positioning is not accurate enough. From deep space positioning to the real space on the surface, there will always be some deviation in positioning. For many gods who are not good at speed, 100 million kilometers is still a long distance, and it takes a while to fly. But for Lin Moyu, 100 million kilometers is not that far, it is only a matter of seconds. The law of space flows throughout the body, creating an inductive connection with the space, and Lin Moyu disappears into the starry sky in an instant. A few seconds later, Lin Moyu had crossed a space of 100 million kilometers and was very close to the target. A breath came, and several gods appeared in the line of sight. Not far from them was the entrance to a secret realm. Gal 10656 Galaxy belongs to the secret realm Xianxing Secret Realm. In the treasure ship Secret Realm, I got the second location left by the Holy Talisman Tianzuan, which is the Schwanching Secret Realm in the high-end area of the Divine City. The 6 gods sat outside the Secret Realm. They laid a large flat stone and placed stone benches and chairs on the stone. 3 of them were making tea and chatting. On the other side of the tea table, there are 2 gods playing chess, and the other one is watching. It seems that these gods are very leisurely. Lin Moyu's sudden arrival did not attract their attention. Several gods have lived too long, even the youngest is thousands of years old. The long life makes them calm and quiet, and they can enjoy life after practicing. Lin Moyu flew over and landed on the big rock. Schwanching Secret Realm is a high-level secret realm, and his authority in the Secret Realm strategy team is not enough to view relevant information. In the Human Emperor Network, there is not much information about the mysterious Star Realm. Lin Moyu plans to ask these gods and inquire about the situation of Schwanching Secret Realm. High-level secret realms are often accompanied by dangers, and it is common for gods to fall there. Although Lin Moyu is confident, he is never arrogant. Lin Moyu saluted respectfully, "Senior, be well." None of these deities have any hidden information, names, or realms. Rylan is helpless. There are 6 gods present. The weakest among them is the 5th-level god, and the strongest has reached the 7th-level god, and is a true high-level god. For high-end areas and high-end secret realms in the Divine City, deities are often the threshold for entry. Advertisement. It seems that high-level gods are not uncommon here, but second-level gods like Lin Moyu are very rare. Lin Moyu did not hide his identity information at this moment. These gods finally showed surprise, and their attention fell on Lin Moyu and looked at Lin Moyu. Among the 6 gods, the only high-level god spoke. "Lin Moyu, are you the top genius who has cleared the secret realm?" His name is Lu Yuen Kue, a 7th-level god. The whole person looked majestic, obviously having been in a high position for a long time. Lin Moyu guessed that he was also a high-level figure in a large family and had a lot of authority in his hands. Lin Moyu admitted generously that he was the junior. Lu Yuen Kue narrowed his eyes. It's true that a hero comes from a young age. It's amazing. Our human race is very lucky to have a genius like you. Lin Moyu accepted his praise calmly. He had heard this kind of praise many times, and they all came from the other shore realm and the Holy Master. Now that a god is praising him, Lin Moyu feels rich and calm. But this performance, in the eyes of several gods, turned out to be neither humble nor arrogant, neither flattering nor humiliating. Another deity praised, "It's really good to have such a character at such a young age. Come and have tea with us." His name is Qi Yuan, a 6th-level god, second only to Lu Wuda among the 6. Lin Moyu looked at his aura and was only half a step away from the 7th level of the deity. He could realize the advancement anytime and anywhere. Lin Moyu sat down gracefully, and the teapot automatically flew up to pour tea for Lin Moyu. When the deity drinks tea, the tea set used is naturally also a minister. Making and pouring tea only requires a thought. Qi Yuan asked, "Half a day ago, I saw the announcement of the City of God. Lin Xiaoyu is still a mid-level employee. How can he come here?" In the Divine City, the levels are clearly defined, and it is impossible for intermediate-level personnel to enter high-level areas. So Qi Yuan and Lu Yuen Kue were a little confused. Lin Moyu smiled and said, "It is the Human Emperor Network that has given the juniors the privilege to walk freely in the Divine City." Advertisement. Lu Yuen Kue said, "I see, as a genius, it is normal to have some privileges." Several deities were extremely indifferent, and although there was some surprise in their eyes, it was very little. Qi Yuan drank tea and said in a calm voice, "Young friend Lin comes here. Does he want to enter the Schwanching Secret Realm?" Lin Moyu hummed, "Exactly, I would like to ask some seniors for information about the Schwanching Secret Realm. I wonder if it would be convenient for them to ask." Qi Yuan smiled and said, "What's the inconvenience? We have been in and out of the Schwanching Secret Realm a few times. Although we don't know much about this secret realm, we still know something about it. But this matter still needs to be said by Mr. Liu. He is the one who has been involved the most and knows the most among us. The gods obviously had a good relationship, so Shi Yuan directly raised this question to Lu Yuan Kuei. Lu Yuan Kuei said, actually, the Xuanqing secret realm is nothing. When we enter it, we also use it to practice. Lu Yuan Kuei told some information in the Xuanqing secret realm, and Lin Moyu listened carefully, and then combined it with the few information in the Human Emperor Network to conduct a combined analysis. Advanced secret realms are different from intermediate and elementary secret realms. In addition to dangers, there are some other things in the secret realms. The first is the restriction on entrance. The requirement for Xuanqing secret realm is that only the gods can enter, not the gods and the other side. Moreover, the minimum time for each entry is no less than 10 days. Within 10 days, even if you use the escape formation, you will not be able to leave the secret realm. After 10 days, you can leave the secret realm freely. Once you leave, you will not be able to enter again within 100 days. There is no time limit in primary and intermediate secret realms. There are dangers in the Xuanqing secret realm. Once you enter it, you must overpressure it. According to Lu Yuan Kuei, if you can't survive even 10 days, you are not worthy of being a god. After 10 days, the danger will be further magnified, and as time goes by, it will become more and more dangerous. However, as the risks become greater, so will the benefits. When Lu Yuan Kuei was narrating, he talked about his highest record. He once stayed in the Xuanqing secret realm for 69 days. Apart from him, Qi Yuan is considered to have the best grades, having stayed for 58 days. Advertisement. The other deities all stayed between 40 and 50 days, and none of them stayed for more than 60 days. Lu Yuan Kuei said that he planned to enter the secret realm for more than 70 days next time. After listening to Lu Yuan Kuei's story, Lin Moyu had a certain understanding of the Xuanqing secret realm. Although Xuanqing secret realm is dangerous, it is also an opportunity. However, this opportunity is for practitioners of the Starlight Law. These gods present here all practice the Starlight Law. There have been gods who practiced other laws in the past, but they didn't get any benefits, and in the end they all returned without success. The main reason why there are not many records in the Human Emperor Network is because the Xuanqing secret realm is always subject to change. Every time I go in, the situation I encounter is different. Lu Yuan Kuei has been in a total of 139 times, and there have been several repetitions, but most of them are different. He also compared it with Qi, Zhao, Yuan and others and found that everyone's experience was different. They couldn't tell how many changes there were in the Xuanqing secret realm. After Lin Moyu listened, he stood up and saluted several people. "Thank you, Senior, for your guidance." Lu Yuan Kuei said with some doubts, "What you understand is not the law of starlight, so why do you talk about the secret realm of Xuanqing?" Lin Moyu smiled and said, "A senior guided me here." This is said in an ambiguous way, making people seem to understand, but not understand. Lu Yuan Kuei is a smart man and will not ask further questions at the moment. Qi Yuan said with a kind smile, "Young Lin, if you go in this time, you will pass this secret realm again." Lin Moyu neither admitted nor denied. "It's hard to say, it depends on the specific situation." Lu Yuan Kuei said, "Then let's wait and see. If I can pass the customs, there is no need for Lin Xiaoyu to be polite or think about me. There are thousands of methods of cultivation, but this one is not lacking. We are just used to it." Lin Moyu cupped his fists and said, "Thank you, Senior."